All right, good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. We are about to start our school board meeting. I'll go ahead and start the meeting to order. We will now do the Pledge of Allegiance. If we can have our fellow board member Mayoral, if you can do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for doing that. We're going to go ahead and go to 1.3, adoption of the agenda. Are there any changes?
No changes, Madam President.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, let's go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Okay, motion carried. We're going to go to 1.4, inspirational message. During the last board meeting, I took some of Dr. Hill's moments to bring in an inspirational a teacher, a retired teacher up and to be recognized, so I take that time. But I do want to recognize and I want to acknowledge all the hard work from all those seniors that are graduating this year, class of 2019, as well as all the teachers and yes, let's give them a round of applause. All the families out there that push them, that try to wake them up in the morning, making sure that they got to school on time, and if they didn't, they made sure that they had food to eat and so forth. So I want to thank all the families out there that took this role on and making sure that their children graduate. And of course, like I mentioned earlier, our teachers, our staff, everyone that put a part to make sure that your child became successful. So thank you so much. Let's go ahead and go to 2.0, special presentation by Linda Bardier, if you can come forward. And after that, we will have the 2.2, but Dr. March, you're going to introduce them later, right? Separately?
Correct.
Okay. So we're 2.1, recognition of outgoing student board members.
And I just want to note, Kashmir is receiving an award right now at Sanji, but she's going to try to make her way over as soon as possible. But she is getting another scholarship, so...
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so let's board members, let's join up.
Will the board and superintendent please come forward? Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We're glad you've joined us today as we recognize the vital work of 4 high school seniors who have dutifully served as student board members for the Board of Education. For the past school year, these dedicated students have attended Board of Education meetings to report on happenings at their respective high schools. They have also been an important voice for their fellow students. Before we bid farewell to them, we will honor their contributions and celebrate their future plans. Student board members, when I call your name, please come forward along with any proud family members that could be here tonight. We will start with Arroyo Valley High School valedictorian, Miss Yoselin Mayoral. Yoselin participated in the prestigious International Baccalaureate program, and she was a member of the Superintendent Student Advisory Council. She is headed to Pomona College, where she will major in Latin American Studies and International Relations. Her career goal is to be a foreign service officer. Let's give Yoselin a round of applause for her involvement in student affairs. Next up is Mr. Greg Weidler from Pacific High School. Greg is headed north this fall to study pre-law at Humboldt State University. Greg has a gift for public speaking and he served as Master of Ceremonies at the Community Gathering for Excellence in last November. Let's hear it one more time for the future lawyer. Let's give him a round of applause. Now it is time to recognize San Bernardino High School salutatorian, Miss Junalyn Parafina. June, as she is known by family and friends, served as Miss Cardinal City, a role that allowed her to be an ambassador for San Bernardino High School. June is fluent in Tagalog, and she is among the hundreds of district seniors who have earned the prestigious State Seal of Biliteracy. This fall, June will attend UC Santa Barbara, where she will major in political science with plans to enter the field of politics. She will also study business. Audience, please put your hands together for Junalyn Parafina. And with perfect, impeccable timing. Leave it on. Our fourth and final student board member is San Gregorio High School senior, Ms. Casimir Middleton. Clearly, Casimir is one determined young woman. Her high school years were challenging, but she never gave up on her dream of earning a diploma. While Casimir will always be a San G Spartan, San Andreas High School also holds a special place in her heart. San Andreas gave Casimir a chance to catch up on credits so she could return to graduate from San Gregorio High. As you know, she has a gift for spoken word, and we know she will use her powerful voice to make this world a better place. Let's give Casimir a big SBCUSD round of applause. And let's get a group photo with all four of our student board members. Ladies and gentlemen, our student board members certainly deserve another big round of applause. As the saying goes, the future is in their hands, and what a bright future it is. We wish them the best of luck, and we truly hope Jocelyn, Greg, Junalyn, and Casimir return to put down roots in San Bernardino after college graduation. Now, before we conclude, please watch the screen to see Casimir's powerful poem on her high school experience come to life.
College Bound by Casimir Middleton. The road to graduation was long and winding. There were times I felt like pulling over but kept driving. Like in 9th grade, there was a traffic jam. Felt like I was at a standstill. Making no progress, crawling along, I had lost my will. Lost, with no sense of direction is how I feel. Family yelling, Jesus take the wheel. But it was my family who steered me away from the potholes. My family was my savior. They helped me find a detour and exit off that freeway to failure. But the city streets were under construction, filled with broken lights and incidents. So many of us struggle with drugs, weapons, fights. It's no coincidence. The streets through 10th grade was more of a dirt road. Other drivers engaging in road rage, even some of the warm teachers were coked. I had to look inside myself to find me. Haters were lurking, doubting Thomas beside me. MapQuest wasn't working, no Thomas to guide me. Still, I persevered through the road rage and all. full steam ahead to 11th grade in the fall. Problem is, I'm running late. Credits ain't up to date. I'm trying to get there within 4 years. Ooh, I can't wait. Made a pit stop at San Andreas, but now I'm back, as San G had to gas up and fix a flat. Making better choices, switching lanes in the coupe, just me, myself, and I riding in that carpool. Didn't have any money to pay the toll, hit the fast track anyway, now I'm on cruise control. Doing about 75 with the top down, high school's disappearing in the rear view, now I'm college bound.
Credits to Daniel Tisdale for producing that video.
You know, and I just wanted to take a minute to compliment our student board members and just share with our public and our community really that we have, these 4 young people have done such an exceptional job of representing student voice. We have 10 students from every high school, 10 foster and homeless youth from across our district come together 5 times a year with me and with our team to develop what are the most important priorities to help our district get focused in the right direction. And then they're able to take those ideas not only back here, but our student board members also had an opportunity to go to Sacramento and share their ideas with our legislators who are making the laws that affect them. And so their voices have been heard, very powerful, and I'm so proud to have served with them, as I know the board is as well. So thank you for your leadership, and please join me in thanking them again together.
Congratulations. That was a beautiful video, and it just reflects on the many struggles, but the awesome outcomes that come from this education and what our district tries to provide. So thank you for that. So then now we're going to go ahead and go to 2.2, which is Superintendent Student Advisory Council.
Yes,
Dr. Marsden.
thank you, Madam President. And as I was just saying, our Student Advisory Council has the opportunity, board, to bring to you after much planning and discussion among them for the year, revisiting of their priorities, and they're going to give you that update today. So with that, Dr. Mitchell is going to frame for you our student advisory.
Thank you, Dr. Marsden. So a couple years ago, Dr. Marsden launched an initiative to get the involvement and feedback and engagement of our high school students to advise us on district initiatives to figure out better ways to engage our students, as well as increase our use of student voice on our campuses. And so we created the Superintendent Student Advisory Committee. We've got broad representation from all of our high schools involved in the committee. We meet about 5 times a year. Last year, we actually asked them to give us some ideas and some suggestions on how we can improve their school experience in our district. And so they formed service projects and some committees. And so tonight, you will hear about those service projects, as well as what they accomplished through those projects and some recommendations for improvement for next year. And so with that, I'd like to turn it over to Sudha Venkatesan, our Director of Secondary Education, who will lead us and facilitate the presentation tonight. Thank you.
Good evening, Board President Medina, Dr. Marsden, board members, cabinet, and the community. It's my pleasure tonight to present to you an update on the work of the Superintendent Student Advisory Council for the year 2018-19 school year. At this time, I want to thank the other departments, and specifically my secondary education department and Scott Iliff's leadership, to make sure that, for providing their outstanding efforts in making sure the council is a success. Second one. Our objective this evening is to share the fantastic work our student leaders have done this year as they learned valuable leadership skills and participated in service projects. Students have developed a shared voice as they reviewed action plans, modified goals, and evaluated their progress on outcomes. During the 2018-19 school year, there were 5 meetings, and they were facilitated by Dr. Lindsay Gunn. Over 100 students, I wish, participated during the school year. Students reviewed 17-18 action plans and refine goals into SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time sensitive. Students participated in one of the 4 service projects: youth court, peer mentorship, campus involvement, and community pride through relationships. In order to increase the student leadership and voice both in the district and greater community, students chose and participated in 4 service projects. These projects are a work in progress as students continue to refine action plans and goals as they reevaluate their projects and the impact that each is having on their campuses and the community. Each service group was given funding to begin to implement their action plans. Youth Court, with total funding of $33,716, seeks to increase restorative practices and provide opportunities for students to correct and manage behavior. Peer mentorship, with the total funding of $27,545, seeks to build peer connections and provide support that will enrich the high school experience for students. Campus involvement, with the total funding of $73,000, seeks to increase student voice on high school campuses by supporting existing programs and creating a SBCUSD student voice club. Finally, community pride through relationships, with funding of over $50,000, seeks to highlight the positive characteristics of San Bernardino through partnerships. And at this time, I would like to introduce Scott Iliff, Coordinator of Secondary Education, who is also the Superintendent Student Advisory Council District Advisor, and who will now introduce the student presenters.
Good evening. As students developed their service projects, they were taught to utilize some of our basic tenets of district norms. Students were introduced to the basics for excellence, speed of trust behaviors, goal setting using SMART goals, and finally the use of the after-action review process. The after-action review process is a tool used in our district to evaluate our progress towards action plans and goals upon completion of projects. After-action reviews are centered on 4 questions: what was expected to happen, what actually occurred, what went well and why, what can be improved and how. The after-action review provides open and honest discussion where participants focus on results, identify ways to sustain what was done well, and make recommendations on ways to overcome obstacles to success. It is now my pleasure to introduce our first service project presentation, Youth Court, and I will let our student presenters introduce themselves.
Hello, my name is Casimir Middleton. It's nice to meet y'all.
My name is Matthew Jacobs. Nice to meet y'all too.
Here, you be the clicker. Our first goal was to recruit and hire college and law students to serve as interns facilitating youth court. That too. Our second goal was to increase stakeholder ownership and participate in youth court. Oh, I read that already. Okay.
We just gonna start.
Go, just go. You go.
There you go.
Okay, how can we improve?
Oh, how can we improve ownership? We did get 4 interns from Valley College who were former participants, and the interns of youth court. So we came up how to improve transportation to increase students to come to youth court. And we came up with, we already have bus passes in use right now for students to come into youth court. And we need, we're trying to see if people can get rides with people, or people can order an Uber, or we can just have somebody that's already going to the court hearing to lend a ride, basically.
Increase communications with students about youth court. So talk about the issues and stuff with the kids more and get to like know like what they feel and like basically like more mentorship with the students.
So this year we had a team for youth court at the Superintendent Advisory Council for students, and we had San Andreas. How do I put it? San Andreas. The school was part of youth court, and a lot of the students graduated. So we're trying to adapt to how can we add more students into our group of the youth court, and to see if we can keep on adding and just keep the same group level the same or increase it.
Okay, so number 4 was to duplicate San Bernardino High School's program. So like to make another one, like they had a youth court program going for like suspensions, dealing with like fights and stuff. So to basically implement a program at each of the high schools in San Bernardino so they could have their own youth court, and then we could deal, the district youth court could deal with the big cases, basically. You want me to do this? I could do this. Go ahead. And number 5 was to increase social media presence. Everyone uses social media nowadays, so there really isn't an excuse for us not to have a web page that kids don't know about. And so we basically want to just make like Facebook pages, Instagrams, Twitters, all that stuff, just to get the program like out there, mainly because most of the kids, I'm sure like 1/4 of the kids know what youth court out of all the kids in the district.
So our recommendations are, hold up, I can't read that good right now. Go ahead,
Was
guys.
to conduct regular visits to youth court to understand how it works. 2, to identify opportunities to promote youth court on social media. 3, use multiple forms of communication to promote the programs. So basically like social media, sending emails and letters. Normally how we get to the kids is that we send letters to remind them to their school, but I don't know how that doesn't work out since it goes to our offices, but we need to improve that better because most of the kids barely get their papers. And 4, to schedule meetings to visit sites to promote youth court across the district. So like me going out to speaking to other middle schools and other high schools to get, like to basically promote the program that we're in. Turn the page. Okay, you got this?
So we're just getting everything. So is that it right there? Okay. So can we get the slides? Yeah. That's it.
Thank you. Sorry we were kind of unprepared, but we still did it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Really?
Yes, Dr. Flores?
I wanted to ask you guys if you said you needed more students to participate.
Yes.
So I guess my question is, does that require more money for us to allocate to you, or I'm not sure, Dr. Marsden.
I think yes, but it will be for like transportation use and the food and stuff. But I feel like since it's a good program, that I feel like we should be able to raise the money for it.
That you guys should be able to raise the money for it?
Well, I feel like if maybe we have the program is already becoming even more big. Maybe if we start fundraising and stuff, so we could gain some of the money ourselves.
Well, I think that we should, as board members, provide you with that money, because it is your money. It is the students' money. Yes. So that you don't have to fundraise. Okay. So that if, do you know how many students you need? How many more would be workable?
About like 5 to 10 more students.
5 to 10? So, okay, so maybe we can figure out how much more we could provide them, Dr. Marsden.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Tillman?
Yeah, I'm assuming that the presentation you guys did tonight was under the guise of this, the role that the students have for the advisory part of it. So this is the students' perspective?
Yes.
Okay. Because to me, we want to ensure that the youth court becomes more robust. But I'm sure we'll be talking to the staff and the folks that actually do the work day in and day out to give us ideas of what costs it's going to take to expand the program. Because at some point we do want to hear that. And I'm assuming that's not what this portion of the program is for. We're just getting Kaz and young man, what's your name?
My name is Matthew Jacobs.
And Matthew Jacobs, we get your perspective of.
But to revise on your words, you said that it's coming from the student's perspective.
Right.
I think that the students' perspectives on this would have to be that we really want to educate my peers and our community members about there's a different way instead of like putting you up for expulsion or put up for suspension or expelled. Like you need to help your community come together and just share and be peaceful.
So just explain to me how it works. You said that you use youth court in lieu of instead of a expulsion and
No, Casimir will get more into detail on that one because she has more experience on that.
Okay. No, we're not saying to like scoot over a little bit. We're not saying to.
I guess I'm asking for your own personal. I'm not asking.
Oh, for my own personal.
How did it work? Were you going to be up for suspension, and instead of suspension, they said you're going to go to youth court, and because you went to youth court, what happened?
Well, it's not that we're saying like instead of getting suspended or expelled that just put youth court on them. We're saying youth court could be like we could bring more kids into the youth court program because most of the kids that get suspended or expelled and stuff, they don't even get introduced to the program. So basically we need to push it out there more to the kids who are getting in trouble and to the sites to let them know that there's other options to like get better and like to help instead of just making a kid another statistic, to also take care and mentor them on their way to getting better in leadership and learning all those good things about school.
Thank you.
All right, great, thank you. And then one thing I did hear was transportation. So if you're going to be calling out or trying to find ways to get there, I think that's an issue. If students, I mean, you're coming from all sorts of backgrounds where parents have vehicles, parents are working, or they just don't have rides. So I think it's our responsibility as a district to provide that type of transportation, at least looking at alternatives to that, where you're just not Ubering a ride there either. So go ahead.
Can I share my perspective on that? So
Yes.
when we got the invitation to come tonight, it was like the school was, I'm not gonna say the school, but the way they put it as is, we'll just sign this waiver for your thing and then you have to find your way there. That's what basically it is.
Okay.
That's all it is. And from my perspective, I think there should be more of a, we'll get you a bus, we have you, we'll make sure you get there. But it's one of those things where I'm like, what happens if my parent works late? Like my parent works until like, my mother works at like until like midnight. And then my father gets home like super late.
Right. And I
And
think
it's one of
that's what I heard through the presentation as well, that there was some concerns with that, how we can improve. So thank you for bringing that, especially from your perspective. Thank you.
Good job. Yep,
Thank you. Good
Great.
job.
And we do have 3 more groups to also present still.
Okay.
This is not the only group, just so the
Okay.
board is aware.
All right, great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Our next group is peer mentorship.
So this group is of their absence. They said in regards to their absence, we'll be talking about their thing to their slides. Their peer mentorship through their slides.
They're going to be speaking on the mentorship. They're going to speak on their behalf, which is
Yes,
regarding the
we'll
mentorship
be speaking on their
peer
behalf.
mentorship.
Yes. So just regards if we like get a little distracted. Our first goal was to assist students in developing and achieving their full potential, personal and academically.
Our second goal was to enrich students' high school experience through peer connections, mentoring, and increased student voice.
how do we feel that we can improve? Building connections between campus programs to better support students. So as like I overheard, they were talking about link crew, helping students like, I don't know, but just helping students, just make sure their leadership skills are together, and just peer, like me and Kashmir, we talk about a whole bunch of stuff about the student advisory, how the campus is going, and she gets everybody's opinion because she's a student board member and takes it up. So that's what we mean by that.
To develop project management for peer mentors to follow through on tasks, like as an example, talk about issues with the groups following through tasks, like seeing like how they're doing on the task and how like their projects are going through.
Focus efforts on mentoring freshman students. That would be link crew. Like I'm going to speak on my own experience. I just got accepted into G crew for San Antonio, and they're trying to help the freshmen be motivated for they can become successful seniors. And when they get that time where when they're about to graduate, it's like the senior fail list, they'll be like, I'm not on it. So that's what they mean by mentoring freshmen, because that's where it all starts.
4, connect former high school graduates with current high school students to serve as mentors, because we're getting mentors from like adults and like you guys, and like no offense, but we want to know like how like freshmen from college, like how they adjust and like their opinion on stuff, because I feel like we connect more to them than us to you, basically, not to be mean. But so basically just getting that opinion and hiring mentors. They could be in the district, finding some who goes to like different universities and like matching up the kids with each other. I feel like that would just benefit, like that would really help out the current students, so we'd know like what and what not to expect with college as a freshman. I could do this one.
That's great.
Okay, the recommendations. 1, to recruit a group facilitator to organize peer mentorship. So like having like a spot on teacher, like a teacher that's in charge, someone that could be on the campus at each schools. We don't, like, you guys could like find a teacher who don't really have like a busy schedule to like help this, to just be a part of the program for the peer mentorship.
Building a connection amongst high school programs. So like I said, we have multiple clubs, and that's like a lot of leadership and peer mentorship. It's very, so I'm like BSU vice president right now, so I speak to a lot of students on a daily basis. So I speak to a whole bunch, and I cheer them on when they're dancing or when they're doing poetry or when they're singing or when they're doing everything. Creating a system for follow through of group members. So group members would be, you would stay in connection with your group members, and the system you created would be there, and you would like, let's say Instagram, you would pull up your Instagram and be like, so what are we doing? So who needs help with their homework or stuff like that?
And to focus mainly on the freshman students, because they're the ones who are gonna need the most help and guidance through all the 4 years. So I feel like if we really help them and really get programs to like really like go around them, because it's all about seniors and stuff in high school. We don't really pay attention to the freshmen that much. And if we do, it's just because like we're like, oh, you're a freshman and stuff, like you're young. We're always calling them young, and like, oh, when you become a senior, then this. We need to start teaching them about the stuff now, so they don't have to wait till senior year to find out about an incident and how to, so basically they could be prepared for senior year. So they won't have to be like, oh, I don't know what to do. So if we get them ready right now, then in the future, don't have to get ready if you're already ready, period. And that's it. Amen.
All right, great. Thank you.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our next group, campus involvement.
Good evening, board. My name is Greg Widley, your ever humble 2-year presenter for the Campus Involvement Service Group.
Yay.
I'm happy to provide an update on it. Okay, before I get into the slide at all, I'd just like to say last year we had a whole lot of ideas, not a lot of action, and this year we had a whole lot of action and not a whole lot of ideas. So we're continuing on the same goals we had last year to establish a student voice club at each high school. What we actually got done, we established a student voice club at Pacific High School and Indian Springs High School. I have no idea how Indian Springs happened. And I haven't had many updates on it, except it's apparently very successful. Pacific High School, we started in January, got our first survey sent out, and we had 3 responses. Second survey went out, we had done just a bit of advertising, and we got about 75 responses, which is huge, following a wide variety of issues, and we were able to take action on a few things. We got answers from staff. Every question asked, do the security know how to save me when I'm choking? Yes, apparently they do. However, one of the problems we did encounter is we really need to focus on results. Student voice collects data from the students. What do you see going on here that you don't like? How can we better assist you? And if the students aren't seeing results, they aren't going to tell you, because they aren't going to tell someone if no one cares. So, we established a system of feedback to administration. We were able to establish meetings between staff and students, and we identified student interest in joining Student Voice Club. However, our biggest fall point, beyond not quite getting as many results as the students would have liked, is a lack of interest from the students. And I'm hoping if we can continue to get results, students will be interested. And we also need someone in charge who is not me, because I'm not very good at being in charge. How do we feel we can improve? Make me step down, because I should not be in charge of campus involvement. We need promotional flyers to advertise that student voice is a thing. It exists, it's out there, and we would like to hear what you have to say. We'd like to help you, and we can't do it without your words, students. So come on out and give your voice, because we're ready to hear it. Word of mouth, probably the biggest thing that got student involvement, and needs to continue, really. Need regular announcements, because we are underrepresented. Underrepresented. And the teachers. One of the things we did to gain student interest, although it's not necessarily the way I figured it'd be, we created Teacher of the Month awards. Because what do teachers do when they're getting awards? They tell people about it. And so we got Teacher of the Month awards, and we had students vote on what teacher helped them the most that month. And you know what? That teacher goes around and says, hey guys, you need to vote on the next survey. You need to give your voice. Because turns out students listen to the teachers at least sometimes, because they're around them all day.
That's right.
So, my recommendations, we need to continue the survey platform. I don't know what Indian Springs is doing, but they got to keep doing that, because I've heard good things out of Indian Springs. We need to continue to focus on results. Teacher of the Month, it works. Let's keep doing that. And we need to continue monthly meeting with advisors, keeping students in the loop. When we get answers from the staff, we have a Google Classroom that all the students interested in joining Student Voice, there's a link at the end of each survey that says, hey, we have a Google Classroom. If you're interested in the results from this survey, join it, and we'll post responses to your questions and follow-up questions. And we need to keep close connections with staff, because student voice gives voice to the unrepresented. And if we don't have the close connections with staff, who are we going to tell?
That's right. Thank you.
Okay, our last group is community pride through relationships.
I do. I want to take a picture of her too while she's up there.
Oh, that's nice, Mom.
Oh.
Good evening. My name is Abigail Medina, and I am happy to provide this update on our service project, Community Pride Through Relationships. We partner with the City of San Bernardino to produce the San Bernardino Arts Fest on Saturday, March 16th at the San Manuel Stadium. We invited plenty of musicians local, that usually from middle schools and I think some high schools, artists, dancers, and performers to participate. So our first goal was to establish a San Bernardino City and School Festival to celebrate and highlight the positive characteristics of San Bernardino. Our second goal was to create systems to promote school unity between districts. Yes, district schools. How we can improve is that to create a system to increase communications between schools and also increase student enthusiasm and participation in community and school events. Because what ended up happening is that a lot of the students were making promises that they couldn't keep. And although they did really have good ideas, they were not able to actually take action on those. And we also wanted to use media to create a consistent presence in the district and the community to just spread the word more and have a bigger turnout than we did this year. Some recommendations would be to create an event for the community and bring schools together, just focus mainly on schools instead of actually because it starts with the schools, because we are the future. And to increase and follow through by team members to support and carry out action plans and create events and assist in facilitating current community events that help people gain knowledge of the community.
Great, thank you. Thank you so much for that. Yes, Dr. Flores?
Abigail, I'd like to ask you a question. Do you have recommendations of how we could assist you as teachers and staff to support follow through with the kids, with your ideas?
Mm-hmm.
Do the kids have any recommendations? Did you hear any?
Well,
or if you have any?
Well, yes. We actually did talk about maybe creating flyers if it could be put on the announcements so kids can hear about it and then maybe have an idea maybe that their club or their dance group can go and dance. And I don't know if any of our schools actually did that. I don't think Sanji did.
Okay.
But
so you kind of need a coordinator, somebody that will coordinate between all the schools.
We did have, I know each school seemed to have a little advisor with them. I don't, mine was with a different group though.
Mm-hmm.
So Sanji did, I mean, we would talk to him and tell him.
Well, I think it's a great idea to build community among all our schools, all our high schools, so that we all feel proud of who we are, and it's a really good step. All the goals that you have there, that you guys came up with, are really great goals. And I think that we should think about how we can assist you since, we have cadres of people that are leaders, and we've been successful. A lot of us have been successful in follow through and how we do it. Mm-hmm. I know we can't put that on the principals because they have too much to do. Mm-hmm. But I think we need to help you guys to really build that pride and so forth, so that you're all, are united. So I thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for the presentation, Abigail.
Good job, students.
So we do have some next steps for the Superintendent Student Advisory Council for the 2019-20 school year. As we have evaluated the after-action reviews, we have determined that the following be either continued or added for the 2019-20 school year. Continue the present level of funding. Add additional dates for advisory student meetings. Those meetings would be held in between the Student Advisory Council meetings. Develop a shared vision for the Student Advisory Council and introduce a leadership component so students would be able to build leadership skills from 9th grade to 12th grade. Increase student participation to include grades 9 and 10 and build a diverse representation. And finally, continue to have Dr. Lindsay Gunn facilitate the meetings. So the goal for next year would be to develop this shared vision, but also build leadership skills for students so that they will be the leaders in the district, and they will work with their peers, and they will provide leadership support for their own peers. Thank you very much. And again, the students worked very, very hard. I know many of them were nervous because they are facing finals and also graduation. So I'd like to ask that we give them another round of applause.
Any comments?
I just want to make a quick comment. Thank you all, to the students especially. It was a great presentation. I just want to say it's so refreshing to hear the students' voice, the students' perspective. I know sometimes as adults we start hearing the student talk and then immediately we think what we think you should do. But we appreciate you coming and just sharing us from the raw feelings of what you guys see, because that's the only way we're going to be able to make a difference and a change. So we want you to know that your voice, when we say it, it's just not a cliche. Your voice does matter because it guides us long term as to what we need to do. And I really appreciate the pride. For those that you all know that I'm a Cardinal for life, and that's part of that pride. Once you adopt whatever school you go to, and that pride, it never stops. It continues on in life. And so if you guys can leave that with us as you move forward in life, we certainly appreciate it.
Okay, great. Dr. Hill?
Thank you. Thanks to all of our young people for the great presentation. I know they were done by seniors with the exception of one person. Are we doing something, and I know you're grooming the 9th, 10th graders, but it sure would be good if perhaps one of your next steps is with the advisory groups to have them be advisors to our 9th graders and 10th graders on campus. You know, if there's time. I know a couple of the high school principals are here and probably looking like you got to be out of your mind, but if there's a way for that, that would be good. If they could be advisors even on their campus and continue working with their peers, because when there are problems, I tell you, the young people know who they need to go after and who they need to fix. Thank you.
All right, great. And I want to say that it's refreshing to hear the students. Sometimes students, or even when as the little kids, they're brutally honest. And this is where they're at. This is what they face. And so I do appreciate the student voice and bringing honesty to how we can look at improving areas that pertain to them and what they're seeing, because what they see is very differently from what we see. And I think it's important to make sure that we recognize. And I love the humor part of it. I loved, maybe it wasn't unintentional, but I thought it was the fact that you were educating us and giving us perspective and still keeping up your spirits and at the same time. So thank you all for doing that presentation. Thank you. We're going to go ahead and move to an important item, which is 2.3, Time to Thrive Conference Report. And I just want to give a little piece that I attended the conference, and it's something that I think we in San Bernardino Unified School District are leading the way of how we respect and we are inclusive of everyone and make sure that they are feeling in an environment of inclusivity. So thank you so much for taking students and educators to the conference. I was really excited to be there because I saw the many good things that other districts were doing. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Medina. With that, we have Marlene Bikendova and our students that have a brief presentation for you.
Good evening. Again, Marlene Bikendova, Director of Positive Youth Development. We want to thank the board for allowing the funds for us to be able to send our students and staff to the National Time to Thrive Conference. It is a conference to promote safety, inclusion, and well-being for our LGBTQ students. I have two students that are going to briefly give you a report on what they learned at the conference. This is Joseph Reed from Sierra High School.
Welcome.
Good evening. Welcome.
Welcome.
Hi, my name is Joseph Reed, and I also attended the Time to Thrive conference. There, we learned how to work towards better acceptance of each other and that diversity is something to be striving for. At the conference, one of the other ambassadors that stood out to me was a young lady named Nicole. She was a youth ambassador and a singer. She told her story about how she struggled with being accepted, which wasn't something that I personally had to deal with, but as far as her career went, I was able to understand. She told her story about how she struggled with being accepted with, but as far as her career went, I was able to understand. She had to deal with it, and she was tormented, judged, and told she couldn't do things because she was a transgender singer. It brought her down to her lowest point. Although she never gave up, she took the negativity and turned it into positive feedback to better herself as a person and as an individual. Not only does judgment affect your career and your life, but it also affects your mental being as well. It changes the way you believe in yourself and you think psychologically, and depending on how it's taken, it can be negative or positive. For me, it was about being social and diverse, to grow towards better acceptance, that has to be a view for which things can be perceived and seen at. A suggestion that I had for our district was to create opportunities for events where students can come together to build understanding between each other. Acceptance will never be understood until you have the time well spent with someone. Even previously believed or thought of may change depending on what that person have believed or what they think. The conference promoted honesty and that people aren't afraid to speak on what they believe or what they feel is going on. When I was there, I felt like the environment was more open-minded and understanding. One thing that we can do to allow our people to come together is to talk about what they feel or experience. To have understanding takes time within someone to see how they see. I would like to thank the board, and I would also like to thank Ms. Mickey Chahusky for the opportunity and opening my eyes on which things I see better now. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Reed.
Thank you. And next up, we have Quinn Monreal from Cone High School.
Welcome.
Hello, my name is Quinn, and I was lucky enough to attend the Time to Thrive conference on February 15th to the 17th. One of the most important things I learned at this conference was that I should accept myself for who I am and not put on a front for no other. And if they cannot accept that, then the important thing is that I accept that. Just like there will be people there to help me through the battles, some people will be there to give me one. But I am not looking for violence. I am looking for an understanding. I am myself, and I will keep being myself at the end of the day, and nothing will make that change. Just as I know who I am, you should know who you are. If you choose to be a negative person about it, it doesn't matter if you accept me, because I accept myself. People, in fact, of any sexual orientation or race want to feel at home and comfortable where they learn. Teachers can help give us that atmosphere if they choose to get to know us. Positive relationships are also important because they can create a safe and welcoming environment for our LGBT students. Knowing and having healthy bonds with each other makes us understand and value each other even more. We should value the diversity because of being different means you have more to offer. A suggestion I have to accomplish this is through programs like Best Buddies that we have at our school. In fact, once upon a time at my school that was hosting a rally, they let us special ed kids sing for us. And in all honesty, I was scared that they would judge and laugh, but to my surprise, when that boy started to sing, everyone cheered and applauded for him. Thanks to the Best Buddies program, I never got to see him so happy and just being himself. I would also like to thank the board members for allowing us to attend this conference and giving us an experience that would open our eyes to the creative possibilities and programs you support. Thank you for allowing me to hear from my role models that I look up to. Thank you for your time. My name is Quinn. I hope you'll have a blessed day.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Quinn.
Again, thank you for allowing our students and our staff to attend. And I just wanted to mention that Casimir also attended. So if you have more questions, or she can also probably speak to that as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, students, and thank you, Marlene, for your leadership. Much appreciated.
Yes, and we have board comments. So Mr. Tillman has some comments. Yes.
To the students, I mean, you wrote that yourself? Both of you wrote that yourself? Yes. Wow. Very powerful. So what was the program? What was the program about? You said it was 3 days? Oh.
It was a trip allowing us to go to Disneyland and going to this conference, and it was a 3-day trip that they hosted for us. They paid for our hotels and our transportation.
And what grade are you in?
I am currently a sophomore trying to graduate early.
At what school?
I go to Cajon High School.
Cajon. And you're a sophomore?
Yes, but I'm trying to graduate with early credits.
Okay, great. And you?
And I'm a junior at Sierra High School.
All right. So any suggestions you guys have about how we can improve? We definitely want to hear it. And I can just tell by your passion and the words that you wrote, you guys have a great understanding of what the needs of the district are to help more students. And that's what it's all about. Like you said, try to make as many people as possible feel comfortable. in a learning environment that they can reach their fullest potential. And it sounds like you both understand that in a great way. So I would love to hear your feedback on ways we can improve. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And then we
I
have Dr.
also want to
Flores.
say something.
Dr. Flores also has a comment.
Yeah, I want to thank you both for coming. It's really important to hear your voices and to have leaders like yourselves. And I can sense that you're really confident about who you are, and that's what our kids need to see. Our kids need to see that it's okay to be who you are. And like Mr. Tillman said, you know, anything that we can do to improve. I mean, you were lucky or had the opportunity to go and experience what you had to experience. And so, you know, I think other kids should also have that, but it looks like you are the leaders. And and I'm glad that one's a sophomore and one's a junior, but you're going to graduate early. But still, you can mentor others, and it's so heartwarming to have you courageously come and speak to us. I thank you very much.
Thank you. I do want to ask how many students were able to attend, how many staff people were able to attend in total, and then what can we do to help motivate more individuals in attending in the future of these programs?
The event that we were able to go to held 6 people. They were not, unfortunately, able to come through today. We were the main speakers. They were supposed to.
No, I was just asking so that way we could look at motivating.
6
Yes.
Students and 3 staff members.
And 3 staff members. And so the thing is that when you look at opportunities for students to grow and bring the information back, and even staff, because it was an educational program as well, it wasn't just where you had youth, it was for educators K all the way up to high school. So this is where we have to take advantage of programs like these and try to invest in making sure more students as well as staff attend. And I just want to say it's courageous that you did come forward, because this is televised and there's going to be a lot of families out there, a lot of students who may be struggling right now, and just hearing from you and seeing how brave you are and being the position that you're in and striving and doing great things, it's encouraging for them to see that. So thank you for joining us, and of course the staff for always advocating. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Stay blessed. Be the blessing.
Okay. That was great. 3.0, we have administrative presentations, Del Vallejo Middle School update.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. So at this time, we have staff from Del Vallejo Middle School who will update the board on their shared vision process and next steps for Del Vallejo Middle School. So good evening and welcome to the team. And Miss Tony Woods, the principal.
All right.
is
Good
here with us as
evening,
well.
Board President Medina, Vice President Rogers, Superintendent Dr. Marsden, Board and Cabinet. First, I want to thank you all for the support you have provided Del Vallejo, and thank you for allowing us the time to present our School of Choice model. We are very excited as we look towards the future of Del Vallejo. This year, as a collaborative school community, we created a shared vision, and along with that, a school-wide School of Choice focus we feel will engage our students and take them to the next level of learning and achievement. We can go to slide 2 now, please. Thank you. Our School of Choice process began at the beginning of this year, the 2018-19 school year, with the support of Aldo Ramirez. As a school team, we wanted to ensure that this was a collaborative process with parents, staff, and students. We began to survey our parents back during back to school night, as Mr. Tillman was there and got bombarded by a ASB with a little orange vest to take a survey on an iPad. And we were able to generate a lot of parent feedback with that survey. We also surveyed teachers and all classified staff at the beginning of the year also. Parent and teacher survey focused on the current programs that they viewed valuable, programs they wanted to see implemented, and programs that would develop our students towards college and career readiness. Our student survey focused on what engages our students during the school day and within their learning environment, how they learn best,
their strengths, their favorite subjects, and what electives they wanted to explore. Surveys with all three groups had similar results, technology being the leading result, art, leadership, STEM, project-based learning, and students had on the top of their list hands-on learning. After analyzing the results and input and feedback from all stakeholders as a school site community, we collectively came to the decision that we would proceed with the school of choice model. We presented the school of choice model to our parents, staff, and students, and again surveyed all of our groups for their input and feedback. All stakeholders are excited about our focus of Del Vallejo Leadership and STEAM Academy. Our team will now present our shared vision, how our school of choice connects with our feeder elementary schools and high schools, our proposed showcases, and curriculum opportunities.
Good evening. My name is Julio Santos. I'm a 7th grade world history teacher at Vallejo Middle School. And just like Ms. Woods mentioned, our work for this shared vision and school of choice started early this year with building a strong leadership team. You guys see them standing right behind me here. There are a few others that are absent. But it started with this strong leadership team here, and the work started early this year with attending the Steve Zweiback training. And I would have to say it's an amazing training. I hope I could attend it again in the near future. But using the things that we learned at the training, like facilitation techniques and strategies, we were able to collaboratively as a staff come up with the shared vision. Some of the things that we used to come up with this was the collaborative process. We used the workshop method. And with the leadership team standing behind me, we were able to rally our staff together and come up with a common goal, a common shared vision. And I'm gonna have my colleague, my good friend here, Mr. May here, share that shared vision with you guys now.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Santos. Again, good evening, board. Thank you for your time here. My name is David May, and this is our new vision. We strive to shape our scholars into cutting-edge leaders to promote global competitiveness through social and emotional growth development, teamwork, collaboration, and creativity to engage and enhance learning opportunities, experiences that incorporate student interest, innovation, and inquiry, accountability for leadership skills, for positive student behavior, and academic success, maintaining a high value and respect of cultural diversity of all stakeholders. Once more, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Roberta Hernandez. I am a school site council member at Vallejo Middle School, where two of my children are students and also members of the award-winning Cadet Corps program. As a member of the school site council, I have been able to be a part of the school of choice focus from the beginning. The school choice focus will allow us to build a foundation for our students as they take the next steps to their pathways focus in high school. Some of the planning that Del Vallejo is working on is how their class will help to support and provide skills that students are ready to go to high school with a clear focus. Here are a few proposed ideas that our students will enter high school ready for the pathway experience. Pacific High School Biomedical Pathway. Our cadet program lays a foundation through first aid and CPR education. Digital Design Pathway. Our elective STEAM classes will build a foundation for Pacific's program. These skills we are building will actually start in elementary school, with our feeder schools contributing the path of STEM and leadership. Del Rosa Elementary STEAM classes, Barton Elementary Turnaround Arts Program and Arts Connection, Hunt Elementary Explores Auxiliary Program Leadership Connection. It is exciting to see what the possibilities are for our students that they can make connections needed to be a competitive candidate in the workforce or college applicant when they are finished with high school. Thank you.
Good evening, school board. My name is Davion Johnson, and I am currently a 7th grader at Vallejo Middle School. I am here to highlight the possibilities of our STEAM showcases that we are looking forward to presenting to community members next year. We are proposing 3 different showcase ideas centered around the School of Choice, Foci, Leadership, and STEAM. The showcase ideas are leaders in the community. Number 2 is full steam ahead. Number 3 is leading the way to the future with STEAM. Each of the showcases will include a project that us students will work on to present to the members and parents to show all the wonderful learning that is taking place at Vallejo Middle School. One of the showcase ideas that we are proposing is called Full Steam Ahead. I am excited about this opportunity because I am currently in our STEM elective class, and it is one of my favorite classes. The STEAM showcase will feature student presentations on their most innovative and engaging projects that we have worked on throughout the trimester. Students will outline the process from beginning ideas to the final project. These projects will include all the parts of STEAM. For example, how we use science, technology, engineering, art, and math to complete our work, all while focusing on developing our leadership skills as we are working on putting together and presenting our projects. Thank you for taking the time to listen to just one of our amazing opportunities that we are looking forward to having at Vallejo. Thank you.
Great job.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, board. My name is Jackie Maynor. I am a vice principal at Vallejo Middle School. We at Vallejo, in accordance with our new vision, consider ourselves to be the bridge that carries our students from their early developmental years into adolescence and their pre-adult years. In other words, we are responsible for reinforcing introductory skills and knowledge our students learn in elementary, while simultaneously enhancing and expanding that information into tools necessary for their academic success in high school and beyond. As the primary feeder for Pacific High School, the curriculum students will be exposed to within the Vallejo Leadership and STEAM Academy will allow students to explore careers within this field while providing them with a solid foundation for their transition into Pacific's career pathways. At this time, Ms. Tucker will now give you a brief overview of what this vertical alignment would look like.
Hi, good evening. Leslie Tucker, Vice Principal over at Vallejo Middle School. So we're very excited in the aspect of what we are proposing to look at for some of the different curriculum opportunities. Currently at our site, we have a STEM elective class. And in that elective class, we have the Lego Mindstorm robotics, in which our students were actually featured at the technology showcase that some of you may have attended. And they brought their robots there and they were coding them. And so that is we want to continue with that particular aspect of the curriculum. We have 3D printing, in which we will utilize and teach our students how to use computer programming and how 3D printing works. Some of the other things that we're excited about and that we're exploring are the Project Lead the Way middle school curriculum, in which there is various curriculum that has automation, robotics, app creators, computer science for innovators and makers, and also science and technology. We are very excited in that we have begun talks with Pacific High School. We actually sat down yesterday with the program specialist, Mrs. Huff, and we were able to kind of outline what this alignment is going to look like in terms of they have now invited our teachers who are going to be teaching these elective courses to sit on their advisory board for curriculum. And so we're really looking at this as an opportunity to lay the foundation for those skills that our students are going to need as they get into the high school areas. One of our other focus is going to be leadership. And as you guys know, and you've seen in the board meetings before, our Cadet Corps is award winning and has really taken on the idea of what a leader is on campus. They currently are using a program called Leads Ranks. And Ms. Maynor and I are looking into helping to develop aspects of lead ranks into our school-wide advisory period, so that not just Cadet Corps, but every single one of our students gets those key leadership characteristic developments. We also use a program, and we've taken aspects of a program called Mindset Matters for leadership development at our school site. You know, the opportunity to really give our students this access, early access to the foundational skills that they're going to need in order to be a competitive candidate as they get into high school, and then, you know, throughout as they enter into the workforce in college is exciting, because this is the way in which will help them to really grasp those key techniques that they're going to need.
I'm one lucky principal, right, to have such a great community of staff, parents, and students behind us leading the way, and so passionate behind this. So I just want to say thank you again for allowing us this time to present our School of Choice model. Thank you to Dr. Morales and also to Mr. Ramirez for assisting us and supporting us through this journey. And also thank you to my staff, our students and parents, in really showing their passion and commitment to this. We're excited to see what the future of Vallejo Leadership and STEAM Academy will bring to our students and our community. Thank you very much.
All right, great. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you. We have board comments.
Great job.
So we're going to start with Mr. Tillman, and right after Mr. Gallo.
Thank you very much for your presentation to the young man, the student. Thank you for your presentation. You can really sense the passion you have about science and technology and engineering. So I'm happy to hear that and feel it in you. You know, I had a discussion with some of the district staff, and if you don't have the answers to my questions, that's fine. You can get them to me later. But you know, I want to make sure that this is a robust program that's real, and that's going to be a big deal at your site.
Right.
And I think that Vallejo should be the school that at some point is known for its STEAM program. Right. So my question is, you said this is a new program. Is there any new money associated with it?
Well, one of the things that we did, because we started this process at the beginning of the year, as we worked through our SPSA plan for next year and our budget allocation, we did allocate our funding towards this journey. So we allocated a good amount of money towards technology. We allocated a good amount of money towards professional development, because I do have a group of about 7 teachers who have elected to teach elective classes within these areas, and for sure they're going to need the professional development. So we have allocated funds for that purpose as well. You can be specific, because good to Mr. Gallo is $10. Good to me is $1 million. Okay. So right. Me too. I'm trying to get a real feel for. So and because it means a lot to me, and I think the board and the district needs to invest properly. I only know that if I hear the numbers. Right. So and if you don't have the numbers tonight, like I said, that's fine. You can give them to me later. I can give you some. I know. So we have about $100,000 allocated in combination of 419 and 501 for technology. And that includes any kind of software or curriculum with that. We last year were able to buy and purchase iPads for every single classroom. Every single core classroom has a set of iPads for students, so they have that one-to-one device. We also purchased this year some, I believe, 4 to 5 super, I just call them, I just wanted the best ones, Mac desktop computers, so that they can hold those graphic design programs and that type of thing. And so we have that, and then we've allocated $100,000 additional for this upcoming school year. I have $25,000 allocated for professional development, and we also were able to pull some monies from here and there and create an additional source to give our microcomputer specialist 2 additional hours. He works, and we did that because he's phenomenal, not only with his skill and knowledge of technology, but he also works alongside with the CAPS program at Marshall, and he was one of the leaders to take the students up to the state level with it was a technology robotics program. And so we figured that allowing him to be at our school site for 2 more hours a day, he can actually get into those classes and give the students some assistance with their electives and the teachers as well. So we've also allocated money to increase his hours as well.
So in terms of the science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics, are there any extra classes?
We have the elective classes. We've had an advisory class built in, and that will serve as our leadership component. We have a 7-period day, and 1 period we did it, or this year was our pilot year. We did 1st period advisory. Next year we're going to shift it to 5th period advisory, but we do have that allocated time for the leadership development. And
so here's what I'm looking for. So I guess, I don't mean to cut you off.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
But in terms of before we were STEAM, we had teachers doing something else, or now that we're STEAM, we have 3 classes that are going to teach robotics that they weren't teaching before,
Correct.
or teaching coding, or teaching more math. I mean, what's the
Right.
change?
With our master schedule, we've arranged it so it allows some of our core teachers who have that passion for technology and art to have an elective class this year. So we will have more elective classes this coming year because of the way that we slated our master schedule to allow those classes that we didn't have last year.
Yeah, and it gets back to the same thing. You know, I hope that it's based on a model of a middle school that has a STEAM program and is very successful.
Yes.
And I would love to hear that someone went to this site and saw it, and you said we have 100,000, but it may cost another 500,000 or $600,000 extra every year. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear what it's going to take to make a real full-blown program. And I'm not knocking. This is the beginning of it. We can grow it.
Right.
But I'll give you a good example. When Mr. Gallo worked with San Andreas on their plant thing, I mean, he spent $700,000 on one container.
Right.
But that compared to, they could have still said they had a hydro whatever plant thing and spent $20,000, but it wouldn't be the same thing as a full-blown program.
Right.
So I just hope that we make the investment, because I really do want to get it to a level where it makes a statement about your site. So I just hope that this is the beginning, and that you're going to come to us and tell us what it's going to take it to that next level. And I hope, and I'm saying it in front of everybody because I want buy-in. I hear you have the parent here, you have the students here, you have your teachers here, you have administrators here. I want you to hear and take from this that we want to invest in something big.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate the support from the cabinet
Thank
and
you.
the board. Thank you.
And then Mr. Gallo.
Yes, thank you. Thanks, Tony. And the rigor, I see you're adopting the project Lead the Way.
Yes.
Has that been instituted yet?
Not yet,
One
no.
of the pathways. Do you have the funds to begin at least the
Yes.
initial technology classes? So can you describe that a little bit?
Well, we do.
Where
we
you're
do,
planning to go
yes,
with that?
we do have the funding for that. I have investigated with the project Lead the Way for middle school. There's about 12 different paths or 12 different elective courses that we can select from. We have selected 4 of those. One of it was coding, one is the robotics, and I hope I pronounce this right, automation, and I can't remember the other 2, but we are investing and going to have our teachers trained with that. Like I have a teacher who wants to do, one of them's computer science. One of our teachers here is interested in teaching the computer science, and so we'll get him the training with that, all of the essential components that Project Lead the Way suggests that we have for that program to make it a credible program.
Right.
So one of the things
I
that
wanted Danny to hear this because
Yes.
it's a well-established program,
Right.
but it does require investment in labs and,
Right.
and
Right.
things, and,
And,
that's where Danny was getting at.
Yes, and so we have looked at those prices, and I feel confident that we do have the startup funds for that as we move along and we grow and we make it more a pronounced program, because that's that's why I'm so lucky, is because I have a staff, I have a community, I have students behind that we want to go full force. We're not just going to do this for the level. We're going to go in deep and we're going to go out wide.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're really looking into, and I have the commitment from the staff.
And I'm really encouraged by everyone that showed up here today. And it sounds like you're all enthusiastic, and you've created a shared vision. It's yours. You own it. And we're here to see what we can do to help facilitate making it the best.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Cool.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay, great. And then I know Dr. Flores had one, and then right after Ms. Rogers. Oh, go ahead.
Thank you for your presentation. I know that Vallejo has had its challenges throughout the last few years, and I'm on ed data from CDE, and so the CAS English scores, ELA, and also the mathematics are not good. You've incrementally done a little bit better, but only 15% of the kids have met or exceeded the standards in English. And in math, only about 5%.
Is that current?
Yes, it's 17. Well, it's 17, 18.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
have the last
So-
data, but I'm just
Okay.
saying that I see the trend that it's improving. So just to make a point, it takes teachers, it takes students, it takes parents to shift the culture of learning, the culture of achieving, and to shift the culture of why literacy and language is important, to have access to knowledge, to learn, why mathematics is important. I mean, those are the 2 fundamental goals. So I didn't hear in the plan what specifically you have in terms of targeting, so that the kids, and this is about students, about how the kids become to believe in themselves, that they can learn, mathematical fundamentals, learn how to read for joy instead of, for failure. And I didn't hear that. I'm interested in that because I became a literacy professor because I was a high school teacher, and a lot of people know this, and my kids couldn't read. And I was appalled that they'd been in school for 9 years and they couldn't read proficiently. They could read a little bit, but not proficiently. So in order for our kids to be successful, academically, they're going to need to be proficient readers. Right. And so, I mean, I know I'm sure you're addressing it, but I didn't get to hear how you're addressing it.
So a little bit with that, we started this year with our students. Our professional learning focus is collaborative structures. And because when I went into Del Vallejo last year, we had a handful of teachers who really use collaboration, and the students were working with each other and learning from each other, but it was still a lot of the teacher talk and the students listening. And so we really shifted that this year. And not only did that shift happen with the students, it happened with the teachers as well. So we have teams of teachers that work very collaboratively together and align. And I'm a literacy teacher at heart. I taught kindergarten and first grade. Those were the two classes that I was in, and then ran a learning center in my elementary years. And so literacy is key. So one of the things that we did was we interweaved those literacy standards, not just in that English language arts class, but we interweaved it into science. We had our science students writing essays, 5-page essays with what they were studying within the science content. We have one of our history teachers here who flawlessly integrates the literacy standards with his history content. And so that has really elevated us this year. I'm excited for you to see our scores, because the preliminary scores that I've pulled, math isn't out yet, but the preliminary scores that we've pulled with language arts, our 6th grade made a dramatic increase, as well as our 7th grade. And you can really see, if come over to Del Vallejo and walk through the classrooms, you can really see, if you go into a 6th grade language arts class, you go into that 6th grade history class, and the students they're talking history, but they're using the literacy standards, and either finding main ideas and key details and comparing and contrasting, and it's flawless as you go through. And then they're even doing that in math. And so that collaborative structure really got our kids learning from each other and really taking down that anxiety for them. So as we move into next year, we're keeping that collaborative structure, because that is a 21st century skill that's going to help us build our school of choice and all of the project-based learning that we're going to do amongst the STEAM umbrella with it and the leadership umbrella. But also we're working in that differentiation piece this year,
Right.
really going into differentiating and where are the students and how can we best serve them.
I know I get a lot of comments from parents that they would like tutors after school to help their kids, because sometimes they don't have the capacity to support them at the level that they're at. So, I'm wondering if you're also supporting after school programs like that.
Yes, we have tutoring. We've had 4 teachers this year who have consistently ran tutoring Tuesday through Friday, or Tuesday through Thursday. They'll even stay Monday through Friday. We have really dug into our English language learners. We were able to reclassify 74 ELs this year.
That's good.
And I do have she's a retired administrator / teacher from our district. She comes in, she's a literacy expert. She comes in as a resident sub and works within our reading support classes and works within our English language, our ELD classes, to really specifically target the students' literacy. We're still building on math. We're still building on that math literacy.
Right.
We are, working really hard, and we're going to bring in some math support classes as well this year. So by all means, I don't ever want our school of choice and where we're going with that, with leadership and STEAM, to ever override the importance of what our students need. Because if they leave Del Vallejo weak readers, they're going to go into high school as a weak reader, and they're going to become discouraged.
Right.
So we have implemented a lot the last couple of years, really strong, heavy this current year, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed that you will be very happy with the growth that we are making. And I can say that we are moving up, and it's going to take us a little while because we were so far behind the race, but man, we're moving, and the staff is passionate. And typically at this time of the year they would be really tired, but they're ready. They're still ready to go with, you know, just 2 more days left of school. So we are really, really focused on that as well.
All right.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for that. We do have one more board comment.
I just want to
Ms.
say
Rogers.
to you, thank you so much. First of all, thank you for even being here tonight. We know you've had some other circumstances going on, but we are here for you, definitely.
Thank
and
you.
the staff for you being here. And I know you're doing some amazing things over there. We hear about it. We're seeing it. And this is the lunch. And my only question is, this is the lunch of something special, something unique. Will you be changing or adding to the name?
Right now, we're going to stick with Del Vallejo
Because I saw
leadership.
that second page say, you know, Del Vallejo Leadership and STEAM
STEAM,
Academy.
yeah.
Really just rang a bell, but I
Yeah.
just want to say that.
We really love it. We did some surveys. Our students love Del Vallejo. They want to keep Del Vallejo, and it was their selection. We really wanted to get with student voice at that time. So who knows what the future holds? But as we go into
job.
next year, Del Vallejo Leadership and STEAM Academy will be who we are.
Well, great.
I hope.
Great job. We appreciate you and your staff. Thank you all for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Just want to compliment Ms. Woods and your entire team. I know it's been a long effort, but the fact that you've engaged your whole staff fully in a thoughtful process, your community, your parents, students, you're to be commended. So wonderful job. Our compliments to all of you. Looking forward to some great things out of Del Vallejo. Thank you. At this time, we will be adjourning for a very abbreviated.
Hold on 1 second.
One moment, please.
So the thing is that we do have, so the meeting has prolonged, and I do apologize that through several comments that it's prolonged. So we will, I'm not sure how many public comments do we have. How many public comment cards do we have? We had a few, quite a few. And we do have a school, let me just go ahead and start with the student board members' comments, because honestly, I know with the other comments, if we would need to go to closed session, and if we do a closed session really quickly, but I do want to make sure that our student board members, from what I'm looking at the comment cards, there are a lot of comment cards, but I do apologize for those who are here waiting. Danny.
You know, when we initially created the time slot for public comment, is so that people can plan to do public comment at 7 o'clock. So, but no, Abigail kind of gave me the impression that we were going to go to closed session and come back and do public comment.
Right.
I don't think we should do that. We have 7 o'clock for public comments, and I think we have to be as consistent as possible, because if we don't, what you're going to have is people, when we come out, people will be gone, because they came to speak at 7 o'clock. And it's only fair to make sure we're consistent with that one time slot. 7 o'clock should be for public comment. And I've gone along with the early closed session, but I've said from the beginning that having closed session early should not impact the time that people are coming out to speak at 7 o'clock.
Okay.
I agree with you.
And I'm fine with that. What I was just trying to say is that we do have at least one item that we have to speak during closed session that would impact the remainder of the items. So then what I can do is I do want to have the student board members' voice first, and then we will move into public comments right afterwards. I'm hoping that those that are mindful that did submit their comments, if they're a group, I will go ahead and speak on that in a little bit, your time limit. So if we can, maybe the school board members.
If I may suggest, perhaps, Madam President, after we hear from our public comments, we can go ahead and have a brief closed session, then come back out and be able to continue the meeting.
Right.
Very good.
Okay. So then if we have our student board members, we will start with Mr. Wilder, and then from there, Ms. Middleton. Then we're going to come around with Mayoral and Parafina.
Thank you. I would just like to say thank you for letting me serve on this board for the last year. It has been an honor serving with you all. I usually come up with my comment during closed sessions, so I have to kind of make this up on the spot. It has been an honor. I have kind of figured out what I want to do. You know, being able to serve on this board, I've realized I like this, and I'd like to continue doing this kind of work. I'd like to continue working for the public, representing the underrepresented, and thank you for helping me find my voice.
Hello, my name is Casman Middleton. I attend Sanji. I just want to say thank you guys. This is probably like my third thank you like this year. But I just want to say thank you guys so much, and all the other student board members, like how we became close. And like it's just surreal. Like this is really the end. And like I just want to thank you guys. I'm so happy that each and every one of you guys can mentor me and make me into a better human being. And I might be coming back to be a teacher in the SBCUSD.
We would love it.
That would be amazing.
I also want to thank the whole entire board member and this community for allowing me to also be part of this. My mom's in the crowd. She's always been here. So I also want to thank my mom for attending all of my school awards, meetings, ceremonies, events, everything since I was little. She's always been there in the crowd. And she also works for this district. She works at Curtis Middle School, and she always gets a lot of comments from her kids. They all love her because she's very patient, and I just look up to her a lot. And I want to thank everyone for, you know, being here and caring about this community and wanting this city to grow in education and in many other issues that we have. So just thank you all, and I hope for the best.
So I would also like to thank the entire board members because this experience has helped me choose what major I want to go in college. So I'm going to be attending UC Santa Barbara under political science, and especially the trip to Sacramento opened my eyes to what I want to do in the future, because talking to California senators, and it was crazy, but I really enjoyed it, and this experience has been an amazing one too as well. So thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, board members. Your voice has been valuable to us, and we do appreciate you. And we look forward to hearing from the many successes that you will endure in the future. So thank you. We will now go to public comments. We will have, I'll have
Yes.
Dr. Marsden look through them.
Thank you very much, Madam President. So we do have several public comments. And so first, we'll call public comments under our regular items. And then from there, we will call separately items when they come up on the agenda once the board has reconvened following our regular public comment session. So again, if you have specific topics on the agenda that you're speaking to, we'll call you when those topics come up on the agenda. At this time, the board welcomes Mr. Trayvon Martin. Good evening and welcome, and have a very good night to all of our our student board members. Have a great evening. Welcome, Mr. Martin.
Good evening, President Medina, Vice President Rogers, board members, Dr. Marsden, Superintendent, Cabinet. My name is Trayvon Martin. I'm the Public Affairs and Community Engagement Representative for the California School Boards Association. I am here to just kind of give you guys a brief update, as I do at least once a month or so. So last month, May 22nd, CSBA, along with CTA and AXA, held a rally for full and fair funding at the Capitol. It was really attended well by CSBA board members. And at the rally, there was other things that took place as well. As you know, that was the same day that Assemblymember O'Donnell passed his AB 1505 resolution. And so that was heavily discussed at the rally. If you would recall, CSBA had a support if amended position on AB 1505. What we felt is removing county school boards from the appeal process for charter school petitions would open up districts to litigation and would cost districts more money in the long run. because if there's no direct oversight anymore. So if a charter school petition gets denied at your level here, the charter school petitioner only has the courts to litigate their concerns. And so we felt that without having the county school board there as a oversight to review charter school petitions, it would leave our boards opened up to litigation. So we did not support that bill. Also, the infamous 328, the late start bill, did pass out of the Senate, and it is over at the Assembly now. It is scheduled to be heard, I believe it's this week, tomorrow. CSBA, of course, opposes late start. We don't need the state to tell our middle schools and high schools that they can't start no later than 8:20. No earlier than 8:20, sorry. You guys have the power to do that at the dais, so we do appreciate all the conversations you've had with your legislatures. And I do know Dr. Hill is looking directly at me because she is a supporter of late start. Again, CSBA does not refute the findings. We do refute the mandate. So Dr. Hill told me, she said, I saw your email on late start, and guess what I did? I didn't even read it. I just pressed the delete button. Yeah. Also, on another note, CSBA will be holding its first annual PAC reception here in the Inland Empire on Saturday at Arrowhead Country Club from 10 to 12 noon. The cost is free for district leadership, school board, cabinet, and superintendents are complimentary to our PAC event. So I do have flyers here inviting you guys there with the information. I do know Ms. Rogers had already RSVP'd, and I believe that Dr. Flores has RSVP'd as well. Look forward to seeing you guys there. I hope that everyone got the copy of the special education report that CSBA sent out in the mail. If you did not get a copy, just send me an email and I will give you a copy probably at the next board meeting. Again, the governor's budget did come out. A lot of great things in the governor's budget for K-12 education. There's a little bit over $600 million of ongoing special ed funding. As you know, the governor wants that money to be used for preventative services, so mainly for preschool students. CSBA and the legislature wants that money to be able to be used for any type of special ed need. The goal is to really help districts with the encroachment of special ed costs. So we hope to see that in the adopted budget. And I will probably not see you guys until August. I will be on vacation and after Saturday, so thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. The board welcomes Jalen White and Ice Tony and Edwin Johnson on the topic of CORD's summer program. Good evening and welcome.
How's everybody doing today? My name is Edwin Johnson, and I'm the CEO and founder of CORD's program right here in the city of San Bernardino. We've been probably doing services for this high schools for about 3 years now. We recently just got a building, and I put in to actually start a summer pilot program where we're focusing on STEAM-based programs, mostly technology-based, where we're doing music production, where we're doing creative writing, critical thinking, academic enrichment programs. And we've been doing this at the school sites for 3 years. And so we was blessed to be able to have a location now to where we have capacity for about 50 kids. And we pretty much have all the equipment there. And we've been working on the renovation of the building. We're located right on 7th and Arrowhead, right downtown San Bernardino. And I know there's no programs down there for youth to be able to do some things like this. And so we kind of made like a big impact at our high school sites. I mean, you know, we have kids that are working on their own music, that are talking about their life stories, that are talking about different situations all through the process and creation of music. Some of our students even express suicide, you know, wanting to commit suicide, but actually been in the program and it's changed their life. We actually done some programs, some performances for you guys for your events and stuff like that. And so I submitted a proposal, so I'm just asking that you guys just check out our proposal that we have, that we're asking to actually do it in July coming up. We have several students interested. Right now, we probably have about 40 students that are actually signed up, and that's not the students in that area right now. So we really want to reach out to more kids. And then our proposal, can you hand these out, Ice? And then our proposal is just talking about funding that we are asking for you guys. And we definitely appreciate the support that y'all been giving us throughout the years. So you can just check out our pictures and stuff like that. And I brought some of my students so they can just kind of tell you about the program. And the most important thing about our summer program is that it's going to be youth-based. So it's for youth and it's by youth. As you guys know, that our program now is actually ran by students that are on our high school campuses. So first one is Ice Tony.
How you guys feeling right now? Okay, I've been working with Chords Hip Hop Shop freshman year, and when I started Chords, like it was really helped me a lot. And since I was in middle school, everybody been bullying me, calling me ugly names and all that. So when I got in high school, and I started with Chords, and now became famous. I'm homecoming king in San Bernardino High School and went to Fomo King, and that's how I got into hip hop shop.
All right, nice
Any
job.
questions?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
My name is Jalen White, and I started the Chords program a few years ago. I think it was 2013. It was a situation with my brother, and it wasn't a safe place for me. So my mom met Edwin, and I started talking to him, and I started making music, and it was just like an escape plan. Every time I was with him, I felt safe. I made music, and like nothing just got in my way, and I stayed with him until now. And now I'm making more music, better music, doing performances, and now I don't even look back at the past. Like, stuff like that doesn't bother me anymore. Every time I talk to him, he's like a father figure to me because my dad hasn't been around for a long time. I still do talk to him, but it's kind of hard to. So I can talk to Edwin like he's my dad, like he's a regular adult, like he's a friend. I can tell him anything, and I feel safe. And during the summer times, for the past few years, I've been going there instead of like just hanging out, going to parties, because that's what I used to do. And then that's when he came along.
Fantastic. That's great. Thank you. Thank you very much. That's great.
Any questions?
Thank you.
So I just asked that the board just look at our videos and stuff. You can see the work right here. I mean, these are only just a couple of our students. You guys can check out our stuff on YouTube, to really dive deep and to actually see what the program is about. And like, I don't want y'all to think that it's just about music. It's about getting kids to actually be able to express themselves, getting kids to be able to learn how to write in a different format. And instead of sitting in class, now they're writing about their life through the music.
It's fantastic.
Okay.
Could
Dr.
you just
Flores.
tell us, thank you, Madam President. Could you tell us how long the program is and how many kids can participate in it?
For our summer program, we're going to have 50 kids, and then we're going to do the pilot program from July to August, and then we're going to have the kids there all day from 6:30 from 7:30 in the morning to 6:30 at night.
Oh wow!
And if you look at our if you look at the packet, it has all our different programs, and so we also collaborated with Melanie Cipher. She's over the Black Student Union program, and so she's going to be doing the theater and a poetry part. And the most significant thing about this program is like not your typical after school program where kids come and hang out. These kids are going to be leaving with something at the end of the program.
So this is focused on the arts and their creativity.
Yes.
Okay, great.
So through art, and we also partner with Iz Avila, who's a 5-time Grammy a winning producer. So he's working with us too with this program.
And where are you going to have it take place?
It's at 323 West 7th Street, right downtown San Bernardino.
Right downtown. Okay.
And
Thank
so,
you.
like, I mean, I would appreciate it if you guys can just come out and just check out our building. I mean, just do the walkthrough. Like, the pictures right there don't do it justice. You guys just gotta.
And what's the ask? What's the amount that you're asking for those 50 kids for a whole month?
$25,000.
25. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I do see your posts. They're amazing. I do have to pass by just to look at what you're doing there.
Oh,
So
okay.
thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I wanted to tell you that I just met at a reception.
Oh, okay.
And I was like shocked because he said he was working in San Bernardino
That's with us,
with
right.
you guys
Mhm.
and with Bradley School.
Right.
And that our kids go to Washington D.C.
Mhm.
to I forget what the main event is, but where he's worked with our kids, and
Right.
so he is a 5-time Grammy winner.
Mhm.
And he does a lot of creative work and a lot of service in our community.
Right,
So
right.
that's great. I hope that we can support this.
Thank you. I appreciate
Thank you.
it. Okay,
Thank
y'all have a
Thank
good night.
you.
Thank
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Thank you, young men, for your time tonight. Board welcomes Parent Leaders Changing the Future. Good evening and welcome.
Hola, buenas tardes.
Good
Mi nombre
evening.
es Berenice Walker
I'm Bernice Walker,
y estoy aquí de vuelta para invitarlos a que vuelvan a ir a nuestro taller de Padres Líderes Cambiando el Futuro.
and I'm here once again to invite you to our workshop,
De Padres Líderes Cambiando el Futuro.
Parent Leaders Changing the Future.
El taller se llama de Padres a Padres.
And the workshop is called Parents to Parents.
No quiero quitar el dedo del renglón.
I don't want to.
Y estamos tratando de que sigan yendo a ver nuestro programa.
And I'm asking
nuestro
that I'm
taller.
inviting you to keep going to see our program.
Es muy importante para nosotros
It's very important for us
que ustedes estén presentes
that you be present there
y vean nuestro trabajo.
and see our work.
Claro, algunas veces no son lo que esperamos, pero estamos dando la batalla. para que
Sometimes it's
siga-
not what we expect, but we
seguimos
are,
adelante.
are continuing with the work.
A continuación le vamos a pasar las invitaciones
And we're going to go ahead and hand out the invitations to you.
Oh, very good. Thank you.
y pasará Roxana a hablar un momento.
And Roxana is going to say some words.
What's the date?
De junio 18
June 18th
a junio 21.
to June 21st.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Roxana Cervantes.
Good evening. My name is Rosana Cervantes,
Ya muchos de ustedes me
and
conocen.
most of you know me already.
Y queremos hacer llegar algunas inquietudes hacia ustedes.
And we have some concerns that we would like to bring to your attention.
Primero que nada,
First of all,
quisiera agradecer que ya que esté oficialmente publicado a la fecha 31 de mayo del 2019 el aceptar las aplicaciones para cubrir la posición de director del Departamento de Compromiso Familiar del distrito.
we're here to thank you for officially publicizing the date of May 31st, 2019 as a date that accepts the applications that cover for the director of the Department of Family Engagement.
El cual ha estado vacante desde otoño del 2018.
That has been vacant since fall of 2018.
Estos son más de 6 meses.
More than 6 months have passed.
Espero que este sea un primer paso para la lucha de resolver las situaciones que a los padres de familia nos aqueja.
I hope that this is the first step that is taken so that much of the situations that much of the parents have could be solved.
y afecta directamente en el desarrollo académico de nuestros hijos,
and that affects directly to the academic achievement of our students,
estudiantes de este distrito escolar.
students that are part of this school district.
Expresamos también que,
We're also expressing
que padres, que queremos que padres líderes participen en la selección de esta posición.
we want to express that we want the parent leaders to be a part of the selection of this position.
Y es precisamente ante el interés de apoyar la mejora académica no solo de nuestros hijos,
And it's because we are interested in supporting the academic achievement not only of our children,
también de los compañeros de nuestros pequeños que son parte del entorno y parte de mi comunidad,
as well as the classmates of our children that are also part of this environment and part of my community.
por lo que me atrevo a pararme aquí y escuchar y hacer escuchar
And that's
de,
why I am
de voz
here
propia
standing in front of you so that you can hear my voice,
haciendo con esto escuchar la voz de muchos padres.
and being an echo of the voice of many, many parents as well.
Porque nosotros los padres estamos viviendo diversas situaciones
Because many of us parents are living through various diverse situations
tanto en las escuelas de nuestros hijos,
in the schools of our children,
como son errores, omisiones y limitaciones de servicio,
limitations of service, errors, and other things.
en las reuniones donde algunas veces no se hacen realmente públicas o las invitaciones son limitadas,
Especially in some meetings that are not made public or the invitations that aren't made for everyone and they are limited.
en los diferentes comités donde se están omitiendo las legislaciones
In
a las
various
que debe de
committees
someterse,
that are omitting certain legislations and laws.
como son sus propios estatutos, las reglas Roberts
for ex-
o la Acta Green
For
Brown.
example, the Brown Act, the bylaws, and other things like that.
El tema de los proveedores, donde los datos y la información no es clara para nosotros.
And some of the data that is presented to us sometimes is not clear for us to understand.
Y hasta los mismos departamentos del distrito,
And some of the departments from the district
donde es tan difícil para nosotros los padres accesar.
that is so difficult for us, the parents, to have access to.
Al parecer estamos confundiendo lo que es involucramiento o participación
It looks like we are causing confusion on what it is to be involved or participation
con el verdadero compromiso donde se trabaja en equipo y se comparten ideas, dudas, inquietudes y comentarios.
in which there is a true commitment in where we work together as a team and we share ideas and we share our concerns and comments.
Es por eso que queremos resaltar la importancia del apoyo a los padres líderes cambiando el futuro,
That is why we are here to highlight the importance of the support for the parent leaders changing the future.
Nosotros servimos con el corazón,
We are serving with our heart,
con la pasión que nos caracteriza.
with the passion that is our characteristics.
Nosotros no esperamos un cheque, un contrato o un beneficio
We're
personal,
not waiting for a check or contract or any personal benefit,
pero sí resaltamos la necesidad de apoyo y compromiso por parte de ustedes, mesa directiva,
but we are here to highlight the need for the support and the commitment on behalf of you, the school board,
superintendente,
the superintendent,
asistentes
the
del
assistant
superintendente,
superintendents,
administrativos,
administrative staff,
maestros,
teachers,
estudiantes,
students,
padres
parents,
o tutores
tutors,
y comunidad en general.
and the community as a whole.
Todos debemos trabajar en equipo,
All of us should work in a team,
buscando realmente la equidad y justicia
looking for equality and justice
que tanto se pregona.
that we so desire.
Dejemos de lado las relaciones personales
We should leave aside our personal relationships
y actuemos con profesionalismo.
and behave in a professional way.
Dejemos de cerrar los ojos a la realidad.
Let's stop closing our eyes to the reality.
Aunque se aplaudan tantos avances,
Even though we applaud so many advances,
debemos seguir trabajando por una mejora continua.
we should be working for a continual betterment of
Y no minimizar lo no tan agradable,
and not minimize the things that are not so great,
los fallos.
our faults or the faults.
El compromiso familiar es un evento único.
The commitment of the family is an event that is unique.
Es una responsabilidad compartida
It's a shared responsibility
en que la comunicación bidireccional
in which the communication that is bidirectional
asegura que el estudiante
assures that the student
está en camino a cumplir con los requisitos
is on
del
track
nivel de grado.
to meet the requirements for his grade level.
Así es que me atrevo a dejar en el aire la pregunta.
I'm giving this question to you today.
Los padres merecemos su atención
Parents, as parents, we deserve your attention
y aún más
and even
su
more
acción
your actions
que nos guíe y nos motive
that could motivate us and guide us
a continuar con el apoyo
to continue with the support
en la búsqueda del éxito de
and-
nuestros
and
estudiantes,
looking for the success of our students,
porque precisamente la falta de este apoyo
because that is why the lack of this support
es la principal causa
is the main cause
de que los padres tomemos distancia
that our parents take a distance from it
en los temas de la educación de nuestros hijos.
in the education of our students.
Continúo creyendo en que la esperanza puede hacerse una realidad.
I continue believing that hope could be a reality.
Y siendo enfocada,
And by being focused,
puedo decir que lo que buscamos
I could say that what we are looking for
es erradicar las barreras para el compromiso familiar,
is eradicate the walls for commitment in the family.
como resultan ser la falta de información,
And one of them being the lack of information,
la intimidación,
intimidation,
el idioma,
our language,
la dificultad para accesar a citas o llamadas con directivos y
the
administrativos,
difficulty that we have to access appointments and calls with different administratives,
la falta de diversidad en los servicios contratados para empoderar a los padres,
the lack of diversity in the services that are contracted for the parents.
la claridad, buscamos la claridad de los datos que se nos presentan
We are looking for clarity in all the data that is presented to us.
y dos ejemplos que se pueden dar
And two examples that I could share with you.
son los que recibimos en la evaluación de proveedores
It's the evaluation of vendors that we received
y en la última reunión de LCAP,
and the last meeting that we had with LCAP.
donde se presenta que solamente un proveedor
That was presented that only one provider
es tomado en cuenta
is taken into consideration
tomando más de la mitad del presupuesto a
that is
los
taking more
vendedores,
than half of the budget,
cuyo proveedor está contratado por 3 años
that the provider is contracted for 3 years
y no por un año como todos los demás.
and not for 1 year like all the others.
La participación de los padres en el proceso de selección del director es importante.
The participation of parents in the process of choosing a director is important,
Y su apoyo a los padres voluntarios,
and your support to parent volunteers,
no solo presencial, también
not just
material y
not just
curricular.
in your presence, but as material and also in curriculum.
Lo necesitamos.
We need it.
Por favor,
Please
tomen conciencia de eso.
take that into account, please.
Gracias.
Okay, muchas gracias. And I wanted to mention that with the time when you translate or interpret, it takes a lot longer for them to speak, and I completely understand that. And it also kind of distracts the speaker who is trying to send the message. Nomás quería decirle que yo entiendo que cuando uno va a interpretar tarda más, y no nomás eso, sino a veces la persona que está hablando se desenfoca, se pierde la concentración y se entiende. So I did make a recommendation, Dr. Marsden, if there's a way that we can look at, you've gone to conferences and they'll have, as the person is speaking live, it'll be written down on the on the bottom as a caption, as maybe some type of guidance. Maybe we can look at doing that too, because it is a distraction for the speaker. And also, of course, it takes more time to have their message sent across. So we can look into that. Nomás quería comentar de que lo de abajo, a veces buscar una manera como se puede hacer una capción en el monitor para los que no hablamos la idioma, podemos entender lo que dicen en vez de cortar su conversación. So, just want to make that in mind. Muchas gracias por sus comentarios. Gracias. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Board welcomes Adrian Ramirez and Carithia Williams. Discuss Norton K-8. Good evening and welcome.
Hello.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening. Corinthia couldn't be here tonight.
No worries.
I am here once again. I was here at the board meeting in the second board meeting in April to talk about Norton Elementary to become a K-8. It is a K-6 right now. And the reason we want to change it to a K-8 is because I've personally went to some of the middle schools to see what they do at their schools, and I love it. The Vallejo is starting their program, but I have 2 students that went to Norton, and one of them was idling for the 2 years that he was out of Norton, and the other one leaves in 2 days. So we are trying to keep her there.
Sure.
And so when we came back from break, we sat down and had a meeting at one of our SSC meetings. We wrote up some flyers or some petitions, and we printed them out, and we handed them out to the parents and had them return them to make Norton a K-8. I brought 168 the last time I was here, and I brought the rest today.
Okay.
We only had 15 days to do this, to write it up, print them up, get them to the parents and back. And so here's another 111.
Very good. Thank you.
I noticed a lot of people came in groups. I came alone.
Sure, that's all right. That's
Hopefully
okay.
my voice is still heard.
Absolutely.
It is,
Absolutely.
of course.
Yes. Last time we spoke, they said they were going to have a meeting with Norton to discuss this, but we never got a phone call. And so I came today to, I guess, just as a reminder that we're still waiting. These programs that the other schools want to start or have started or are looking to start, Norton already has them in place. They have hydroponics, aquaponics, laser printing, and so on. There's a lot of stuff that Norton does. I mean, I could go on for a while.
Sure.
So they want to change it to a K-8 so these students aren't idling. As I mentioned last time, if the career pathway is for my students to go to Curtis, but Curtis doesn't allow you into the STEM program until 8th grade. And then they only allow 100 students out of all the 8th graders to enter that elective class. At Norton, the STEM program is not an elective, it's part of the normal classroom. And also the CAPS programs at other schools, like for example, at my son's school, they kind of just do whatever they want. They can go play basketball, play on the iPads, play on their phones, whatever. At Norton, the STEM program continues, and they work on the STEM program at CAPS a few days out of the week. So they're constantly advancing. So that's why we've been fighting so hard, because we don't want our students to idle. Now, with this pile right here, this equals 279 signatures. But the signatures are just from one of the parents. Only one parent had to fill it out. So if there's 2 parents at home, then it doubles.
Makes sense. Very good.
And also when we were doing this, some of the grandparents that come to pick up their students or drop them off to help out the parents, they wanted to sign too. But these are the parents.
Gotcha. Great.
So
thank you.
And
Thank
we-
you for that. We want to receive those from you tonight.
And we
as
do
well.
have a board member comment, a clarifying
Yes.
question.
Thank you for coming again. And I was very intrigued by the fact that you came not just to make us aware of the issue. And because my dad used to say, if you come with a problem, you better have a solution, or I'm not listening. And you had a solution, and I believe that. Can you clarify what the parent solution was that you proposed? I kind of remember it, but
The solution?
yeah.
Are you talking money-wise?
No, I'm talking about the classes that you said that it would only take, what, 2 for the kids to start in 7th grade?
Yes.
To go on to 7th grade?
Yes, we want to make it a K-8, but we don't want K-8 immediately. We want 7th grade, so K-8 or
Right.
K-7. The students that are at Norton that have went through the program.
Yeah. And how many 6th graders are they?
There
Total?
is 95
So it'd be 95 6th graders would.
approximately from the count for my daughter.
So
She
they
thinks
have
there's
three. They have 3 teachers.
Yes.
6th graders have 3 teachers. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So it'd be 3 additional teachers that would go to 7th grade, and
Yes.
if they stayed there. Okay.
Yes.
And-
Because, I
and-
mean,
yeah,
she thinks about it. It's like a countdown, and she doesn't like it
Right,
that she
right.
has to move. I live in North Vermont, so her homeschool was going to have to be Chavez, where my son is going now.
And Dr. Flores, we can have someone bring us a report so that way that
Right.
on
Well, I
this-
was going to ask Madam President if I forgot your name. I'm so sorry.
Adrian.
Adrian, if Dr. Marsden, Adrian could make an appointment right now so that the parents could come and I don't know what the procedure is, but so that they.
Yeah,
that-
what we'll do is,
Yeah.
I apologize, no one's reached out to you yet, and so we will find out tomorrow. What we do as a cabinet generally is we discuss all interactions we've had with the public, and we determine who's following up and when, and so we'll follow up with you certainly, and you'll know when is the meeting and where and all those kinds of things.
I want you to know
We'll do
that as a parent, I feel your urgency, and as a board member, I support you, and I support the parents.
Thank you.
Because we're we want our kids to continue and have that support, and all the issues that you brought up, and I listened carefully.
Yes. We
So-
didn't just start working on this.
Yeah.
The principal has been working on this for a while, talking to
Mhm.
people from the district. But we still weren't getting anything done.
Right.
We didn't just come to the board meeting last April with this brand new. This has been going for a while.
Okay.
Because we need this to happen. Like I said, we don't want our kids to idle. You
Right.
know.
All right.
Well, thank you so much,
No,
Adrian.
we do have Mr.
Yep.
Tillman has a comment, clarifying question.
Yes, and really just to be frank and realistic about it. I mean, the first step would be the board have to agendize it, to have a discussion about this.
Right.
item.
Yeah, that's why I'm
And
saying
if-
we have the
and
report
if there's
afterwards.
consensus that we should do that immediately. And I don't think, and I say immediately, not for this school year. It's not going to happen this school year. I mean, you're in June right now. You agendize a meeting for next June. You're talking about hiring teachers and change the use of facilities. I don't see how it can happen. But the first step would be to agendize it and agendize it immediately. I think it makes sense. I mean, they have a robust program. We heard the presentation from Devil tonight. I have real concerns about it because to get to a level where Norton is, it's going to take time and resources. And as you stated, all your classes are aligned with the subject matter, which is the way to do it.
This elementary school even has a
No, I know. I've
internship.
I've seen it, but I'm saying. So I would just suggest
Okay.
that
Then we can
to be,
agendize it.
yeah, to make sure we stay within Robert rules. That I'd ask that we agendize and have the discussion at the next
Okay.
board meeting.
Okay. If you do wait till next year to do this, my daughter's in 6th grade, so if Norton is going to start 7th grade and then switch to 8th the following year, so the Norton kids stay there, she will miss all that. It will be useless for my daughter, for the 6th graders now.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But that's why we need to agendize it.
Right,
But
right,
I'm just
okay.
being realistic about it. You're talking
Yes.
about a lot of stuff that would have to happen to take a school from being
Right.
what it is now and adding a grade to it. It sounds simple.
Is it possible for you guys to talk to the principal to see what she has,
That's why
to
when-
talk to her
We
about
will-
her
We're gonna
plan?
We will
agendize
go ahead and agendize, and so that way we can have further discussion on this.
Okay.
But thank you for bringing this forward to us.
And we will reach out to you. You can expect a call from someone this week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
They
you.
are aviators, so if you do not do this, you're going to take their wings away.
Thank you. Thank you.
I know. Well, thank you for bringing this to us. And then you could give that to Mr. Perry, so we can pass it around. or we're good?
And you're doing a great job of representing what a fantastic program does. It brings a tremendous value, so thank you.
Thank you.
Those, board, are all our comments at this moment for the items that are for general public comment session. The other items are related to specific
All right.
agenda items.
And
We
I
can
do want to
approach
recognize
those.
that we do have an elected official as well as a community member that will be speaking on an agenda items, and I do not want her to keep waiting, as this could be something that we can speak of earlier. And this is for I'm trying to look for the item 6.1 regarding the Citizens Oversight. Okay, I see here. Citizens Oversight Committee, and this would be done by Gloria Mercias Harrison.
Yeah,
So if
thank
can come
you,
forward, please.
Madam President. The board does indeed welcome, and thank you, Ms. Harrison.
Thank you
Good
very
evening.
much for moving the agenda for me. Having been in closed session, sometimes closed session goes on and on and
Right,
on, especially when we're talking about personnel. But good evening, Dr. Marston, board chair, and the board members. My name is Gloria Macias Harrison, and I'm the recently elected chair of the Measure T and Measure N Bond Citizens Oversight Committee. I'm here tonight to present to you the committee's current annual report, which is in your board bundle, and to give you some highlights from last year. The committee is, as you know, legally charged under the Education Code and the California Constitution with direct taxpayer review of the bond measures and with informing the public about the expenditures of the bond proceeds to ensure that spending conforms to the bond language approved by the voters of this district. I am here this evening to inform the board and the public regarding the committee's findings, and you have, like I said, the annual report that highlights compliance with the requirements of the California Constitution. The proceeds of the bond sales were used only for construction, reconstruction, rehabilitation, or replacement of school facilities, including furnishings, equipping of school facilities, or the acquisition or lease of real property for school facilities. A list of specific school facilities can be funded by the bond and has been prepared. An annual independent performance audit has been prepared, and that is the next presentation for you, as you have to be very proud as a board that the audits for the past 15 years have really not found any findings. So I congratulate the board and the staff for keeping track of how those bond monies are used. The thing that I asked for, and like I said, I'm the recently elected chair. I have to say that I probably got the chairship by default, because I have to say it's not an exciting committee. It has a lot of data and a lot of facilities, but it's a good thing that as a former president, was very much involved in the facilities and the construction under the bond issues for the community college district. So I understand this, and it's absolutely important. Our role as the Oversight Committee is not to make the priorities, but just to see that what was promised to the voters of this district are being complied with, and that is what we attest to. So the highlights from last year, we have completed athletic complexes and started synthetic turf replacement in all comprehensive high schools. The district master plan is being developed. There is a development of a CTE building at Pacific High School. The Richardson HVAC upgrade at the snack shop is being completed. We have completed surveys, security systems upgrade at 22 sites. And the design has begun for modernization projects at Barton, Cole, Del Rosa, Hunt, North Park, Boniol, Rio Vista, Warm Springs, Serrano, Shandon Hills, Pacific, and Sierra. one of the concerns of the committee has been that the infrastructure for the older buildings is looked at and prioritized and done in a timely fashion. As a member of the committee, we have taken some bus tours, including Indian Springs Performing Arts Center, which I just salivate because I'd like to see that at our campuses. The San Andreas Growing Hope, the Fairfax Furniture Replacement, and the Pacific Solar. So our committee is made up, as you know, of citizens representing business, taxpayers associations, a variety of people. It's diverse. And I have to say that the committee is made up of Tishana K. Cornish, James Stark, David Clark, Maria Garcia, Erica Maria Delgado de Ramos, and we are going to get a new member for our meeting in July with Miguel McQueen joining the committee. So, and I want to thank the staff, which has been very responsive and making sure that our questions are answered. And although we do not have recommendations for you, we have discussed a couple of things, and as part of the committee, we are learning what we can and cannot do. And especially for me, because there are things that we can do as community college district that the K-12 cannot do. And so we have asked questions specifically about upgrading the infrastructure of the school district. And also we have asked questions about local hires, which is something that we were able to pass at the community college level. So this is, it's a good committee, it's a dedicated committee, and I think we are still looking for a couple of members, but we will be probably solving that hopefully within the near future. So that's all of my report. I'm really excited about the new projects. The future looks good, and it is absolutely important for the safety and for the learning environment to be productive for our students. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your leadership, Ms. Harrison.
And then I just want to mention, she is also the San Bernardino Community College board member or trustee. So thank you for being part of the committee. Okay, let's go ahead and move along really quickly, because honestly, this is tied to the next one, which is 6.2, and I'm hoping that Janie Christakos would be briefly speak on this with regarding the Building Fund Financial and Performance Audits reports for fiscal year 2017 and 18.
And you know Ms. Shiloh Gorospi, she's our auditor, and she's here to speak on the audit report.
Good evening. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to go ahead and provide the report. And I will keep it brief for you, but of course I will always take time to answer your questions if you have any. So the report tonight is the financial and performance audit for June 30, 2018 for both Measures T and Measure N. And of course, our report always starts with our independent auditor's report on the financial statements. Now, because this is a twofold report, the first part is related to the financial statements. The second half of the report is related to the term we use, performance, and I'll go over both. The independent auditor's report on the financial statements starts on your page 2, and this is the report that we provide to provide you a reasonable assurance regarding whether the financial statements for Measure T and N are fairly stated as of June 30, 2018. And so this is an unmodified report, so that's a clean report. It's the highest level of assurance we can provide you in an audit, and it does mean that the financial statements are materially stated. And with that, just informationally on page 5, this really reflects for both Measures T and N what we're talking about when we call it fund balance, or the amounts available for future spending. And you can see, if you're looking at page 5, Measure T at the end of June 30, 2018 had about 5.7 million left, while Measure N had about 65.1 million. Of course, we're almost a whole year past that, and so those numbers probably look very different today than they did at June 30, 2018. And then because this is a government audit report, audit standards require us to provide you with a report on internal controls. This is not an opinion on internal controls. This report is designed to provide you with information regarding whether or not there are any internal control deficiencies related to the financial reporting. That report is on page 18, and it is a clean report, so there are no significant deficiency or material weakness internal control findings related to measures tier N. And then if you were continuing through your report, you probably saw on pages 22, 23, what looks like a finding, and I just wanted to highlight that that was prior year, and that is in the report to show you really at the very end of it, the section where it tells you it was implemented. Sometimes that gets mistaken for a current year, so finding I did want to point out that that was just related to the prior year. And then we move on to the second part of the report. And so you have your second page 2, I'll call it, and this is the independent auditor's report on performance. So our goal here is to look at the expenditures, and we're looking for compliance with the ballot text, the language as approved by the voters. And so with respect to the performance report, we're happy to report that that's a clean report. There was no findings or exceptions noted with respect to compliance. And if there were any findings to report, once again, those would be at the very back, and you would see specifically any findings written related to that performance. And last but not least, we always provide you with a letter. It's from us to you that tells you a few other things about our role as your auditors. If we had any difficulties in completing our audit, if we had any disagreements with management, if we had any audit adjustments and things of that nature. So as you read through that letter to you, I think you'll find that there are no issues, and hopefully that that everything for June 30, 2018 came out okay. And now we are a year later going to start working on the next year.
Thank you, Ms. Grosby. And after the board's questions, the board will take action to vote on this topic.
Right.
All right.
I just
Dr.
want to
Flores.
thank you, Ms. Christakos, and all our team, and also you. You know, being on the board for so many years, I just think that our staff has the templates, the ethics, the process, the procedures, you know, that comply with the law in terms of the use of bond money. And I think that's why we keep getting voted, you know, favorably for bonds, because we are very prudent and we are very, I mean, we're ethical in terms of using the bond money the way it's supposed to be used and so forth. So I just want to commend all our team for all your hard work and for being so diligent. Thank you.
Okay, great.
And also our auditors. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to go ahead now to close session. Oh, yeah, we have to vote. Can I have a motion? Okay. Let's, any discussion? Further discussion? Hearing none, let's go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Be resolved that the board, that the building fund measure T and N financial and performance audits report for fiscal year 2017 and 18 be accepted and submitted. Thank you so much. And we're going to go ahead and head out to closed session. We will convene, just calculate between.
It'll be a very abbreviated closed session. We'll come out soon, and then the board will adjourn to a second closed session later this evening.
Okay. Okay, as we're coming back from closed session, I will go ahead and reopen. And I will report out. So be resolved that the Board of Education approves the appointment of the following employees. Daft Dorothy, Elementary School Vice Principal, Lancashire Elementary School, effective date, work year, and salary to be determined, funding 035. And Fitz Eurydice, Middle School Vice Principal, Dr. Martin Luther King, Junior Middle School, effective date, work year, and salary to be determined, funding 035. Huh? Can you please stand up so we could see you? This is part of the discussion. Oh, that's right, because we haven't voted yet. Okay, great. So then now let's go ahead. Can I have a motion? Okay, any discussion? We already did that? Okay, so there was, okay, sorry, I didn't hear it. We got excited. Okay, so then any discussion? Let's go ahead and call. Well, let's vote first. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, motion carried. Now we want to know which is which. Okay, great. Eurydice Fitz, and then we have back there Dorothy Daft. So congratulations to you both. Congratulations. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move along. Let me see.
And the board wanted to mention that we are pulling item 12.2 from tonight's agenda.
Okay. 7.1 balance in excess of minimum reserve requirements fiscal year 2018-19. This is no vote for this, Dr. Marsden.
Thank you, Madam President. And Ms. Christakis can give you just a quick summary.
Yeah, we're required to have a public hearing on any excess of minimum reserve requirements. If we don't assign them, the county will not approve them. So you see before you how those funds are assigned, and they're part of the budget as well.
So it's just information then? It's a public hearing? Okay, I'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Are there any comments? Hearing none, let's go ahead and move to 7.2, which is fiscal year 2019-20 preliminary budget and local control accountability plan. Nothing? Okay. 7.3, local control and accountability plan. Seeing none. Okay, we're going to go ahead and close the public hearing. We will now move to 10.1, report by San Bernardino Teachers Association, Ashley Alcala. And Ashley, I always say it wrong. I say Alcala or Alcala.
Accent is on the last A.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Alcala.
Alcala. Thank you.
Good evening, Board, President Medina, Dr. Marsden and Cabinet. My name is Ashley Vitas Alcala, President of the San Bernardino Teachers Association. And tonight I just wanted to let you know that we did complete the voting on our tentative agreement. And it was approved by our membership at an overwhelming 93% yes vote. So we
congratulations.
look forward to you approving it at your next regular meeting. And that's all I have to report this evening.
Thank you so much for sharing that. That's amazing. All right, great. Thank you. 10.2, report by California School Employees Association. Seeing none, let's go ahead and 10.3, report by what?
No report.
Communication Workers of America?
No
Okay,
report.
none. 10.4, report by San Bernardino School Police Officers Association. None. 10.5, comments by board members, and I will go ahead and start with Ms. Rogers, and then we're going to go around towards Mr. Tillman, and then come around the corner with Dr. Wyatt, and ending with
Excellent.
me.
Good evening, everyone. My quick comments tonight is to all the graduates. We've been having a great time visiting all of the various schools. We have several more left to go, shaking all the hands, but we've heard some great things from our students. We have a lot that's going to stay locally, take advantage of the San Bernardino Valley College Promise, which is great. And I'm sure Dr. Hill will also echo on, we had it's only Tuesday, and we had a great Monday because we had an opportunity to spend some time with the Surgeon General came down, Dr. Nadine Harris, is it? I'm trying to remember the name. But what was unique about that conversation that we had with her over at the community college as well is we were talking about trauma-informed care and a lot of the needs that we're experiencing from the mental health perspective, as well as toxic stress, which is something that is happening among all of our youth. So we were excited about that. And then lastly, I did mention this in our agenda review to Dr. Volkermer. I would like for us to look at. I know we've been talking a lot about recycling, and I know our board president has brought that up as well. And we'd like to look at what it would take for us.
Thank you, Ms. Rogers. Thank you.
What it would take for us to become a green district, and that way all of those things will be falling under those initiatives to make sure that we are aligning up with being green. So thank you. Have a good evening.
All right, we're going to go ahead and pause really quickly right after.
I failed to call 2 public hearing comments
Yes,
on item 7.3, so thank you for your patience in reminding me. Board welcomes Keisha McGee and Angela Cardenas. Thank you so much.
And
Sorry
this is
for the
regarding-
confusion.
This is regarding the
regarding 7.3.
local control and accountability
Yes.
plan.
Thank you for your patience.
Hi. Oh, how do you move this? Good evening. My name is Angela Cardenas, and I'm a senior at San Bernardino High School, a student organizer with ICUC. Tonight, I'm here to share why my mental health is important to me. In the past, I have had issues with my own mental health. At the time, I did not know where to go to for help. I had to find ways to deal with what I was going through on my own. I know that did happen to many other students. Thankfully, now I know that we have the Department of Student Wellness here in our district, and they have many resources for students who need it. But there's still gaps we need to fill. One gap we have to learn about is in the HEART team. The HEART team is made up with 3 program specialists who have their marriage and family therapy license, and 5 pre-licensed interns. They provide counseling to students across the district. This work is extremely important because these students are actually getting the services they need. As an ICUC, we are here again to ask for the expansion of the HEART team. The structure that the HEART team was intended to be was 6 program specialists, 1 per each feeder high school. There are currently only 3. This is why we are asking for extra funding to be allocated to the Department of the Student Wellness and Support Services for the HEART team to be able to hire the 3 additional MFTs. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Cardenas.
Good evening, board members. My name is Keisha McGee, and I'm a parent organizer with ICUC. ICUC has shared with you guys the stories we have heard about the combo classes at the various schools in our district. We have learned that there are an average of 70 combo classes every school year. We have shared the change in the schools where teachers were given support in the combo classes in the matter of having an intern teacher. As the opportunity for intern teachers open up in combo classes, we are providing a pathway to bring and train local students that are becoming local students studying to become our future teachers. We're on the right path with that. We would like to ask you to assign an intern teacher per class combination class, with each school providing support towards the teachers, which will eventually provide a better education for our students. We would like you to commit to include in the 2019-2020 school budget these funds to support teachers and students of combo classes. And we ask that this item and the wellness item be agendized for the next board meeting. So I thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you very much, Ms. McGee.
Right, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cardenas. Thank you for your time.
And we also do apologize. I mean, you all have been a great advocate in the San Bernardino area. So thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you for your leadership. Thank you, board.
Now we can go with Mr. Gallo. Any board comments?
Yes, thank you. I want to ask Eric Vatier, I don't know if he's here or not, but about drones for various career pathway uses. So maybe we could get Eric sometime to give us a briefing, or I'd like to hear about it. I mean, we've got, as you know, some GIS pathways with ESRI, and these have GIS coordinates and mapping that's integrated with these drone cameras that really can provide a neat service for cities, you know, to just map maintenance, repairs, any kind of issues with, say, street and road repairs, and lights that are out, trees that need trimming, et cetera, et cetera. And it's a great career pathway, and drone technology is really accelerating for use in the construction industry to, you know, document certain construction activities. They fly patterns around and everything. And I believe that now the FAA, I'm part of the FAA division for mostly space activities, but it does kind of impact drone activities. I actually have a launch vehicle that's a drone. And so I think the regulatory environment is very clean now and clear. There's boundaries around the airport, you know, around about 2 mile boundary around the airports that you need special operating certificates to run, but you can get them. So I'd really like to see if we could get maybe, and I guess Eric's the one that's been kind of honcho in that. And I know he's got a license himself and operates a drone. In fact, they operated one at San Andreas's graduation last night and took 4K video of the whole place. Yeah, it was really, really cool. So that's all I have.
Okay, great. Mr.
Thanks.
Gallo? Mr. Tillman? None? Mr. Dr. White?
Thank you, Madam President. And just to build on a lot of the announcements and, you know, celebrations we've been having this year and, you know, over the year and coming to an amazing end of the year. Had the opportunity to go to the San Bernardino Area Chamber of Commerce Officer of the Year celebration and celebrate our school police officer, Officer Sanchez. So congratulations to he and his wife, as well as the rest of the men and women in blue, and the appreciation we have for them. Also want to say thank you to our success team. Our STARS program for at-risk students. They had a really nice ceremony as well this past week, and was able to attend that. And you know, what was really nice is to see the families that were there, and you know, learning about the different programs and resources we have available to them. So I thought it was pretty amazing too what we're doing in that particular area of services to our kids in our community. And of course, I'll always be supporting them, trying to get them more money and to expand that to where it's full capacity at all of our schools, but doing a great job and going in the right direction. And again, just fantastic to be part of these high school graduations, and looking forward, I think, 4 more this week. So we'll be seeing them soon, and some of our school board student members that were here, really excited to see some of their speeches. So that's what it's all about. Thank you.
That's right. Dr. Flores?
Yes, I also want to congratulate all of our graduates 2019. Salute our teachers for the great job that they've done, our administrators, cabinet for supporting them. I think we're on such a good trend in terms of our graduation, and it speaks, you know, to all our concerted effort. Last May 23rd, all of us cabinet members and school board members attended the Monty Awards for our SBTA. That was really gratifying. About 72, 74 teachers retired, and it was very heartwarming. I mean, a lot of, I forgot how many years, I forgot how many collectively, was it 667 years total. So it was wonderful. I also would like to share that I went to the LCAT meeting on May 30th, and I'd like to congratulate Terry Komnick, and also Janet King was there, and the staff. They did a wonderful job. There were, I bet, over 150, 200 parents, community members. They asked lots of really pertinent questions, and it's good to see that our community is participating.
I also like to give a shout out to my daughter at Arroyo Valley. We'll be showing, if you can see on the monitor, the kids are having a short film fest on Thursday, June 6th at 6 o'clock, and we're all invited. They did these short films, and they would like us to participate, so I'm inviting the public and any of you that can come. The kids will be featured, their short films, and Tony Plana will be there, and he wants to get them into, they have this Hollywood event where kids from all over the California or Southern California compete for short films. So I think that would be really great for our kids to participate. I also want to report that I'm on that statewide literacy campaign committee for Tony Thurman, and it's moving along, and I'm glad that we have our own district campaign, literacy campaign. So when we come back, we're meeting face-to-face next week, and it would be really wonderful to see what comes out of it, and I'm looking forward to sharing that with our team so that we can be on board as to what, where we can go. But I think, we have a jump start on it. So I thank you so much. That's it.
Okay,
I
wonderful.
also have some articles that I want to give you, Dr. Marston. Should I just email them to Karen?
Perfect.
And then I would like to share
Absolutely.
with Cabinet.
It'll be our pleasure. Thank you.
Great.
All right, thank you, Dr. Flores. Dr. Hill.
Thank you, Madam President. I won't repeat the other things. I have been to 4 graduations and look forward to either 3 or 4 more. It's just such a wonderful time seeing those kids and the enthusiasm and the passion they have for either college, some going to work, and quite a number going into the military. And I know Ms. Rogers mentioned Dr. Harris, but I didn't remember if she mentioned she's the first California Surgeon General. But in our discussion yesterday, most of the stakeholders around the table talked about mental health. And that's when I found out there are 2 career pathways on the east end. I think one is in Redlands and one is in Yucaipa, where students are learning mental health, how to deal with mental health people. Stephanie Houston mentioned it, so I told her we want to know more about that. I did get a chance with Scott, got to the success team, was really good. Went to the Parent Education Summit. Wish there were more number of people there, but weren't as many parents that I had hoped would be there. I also had a chance to go to Pacific High School, where Justice Manny Ramirez from the Court of Appeals presented the Civics Learning Award. And the last thing of my visits in the last 2 weeks, I went to the Tachikawa recognition dinner. And we have students who are getting ready to go to Japan. I think they're going next week. But in Tachikawa, there were 15 students there, and they have a speech contest. There were 4,000 students, I guess, who were eligible for the speech contest. They selected the top 15, and they brought them all. They were all there. They brought them all to the United States. Of course, taking them to Disneyland and L.A. and some other places. But I just say how wonderful, what a great event that is. And again, even though I've seen hundreds and hundreds of graduates, I want to say to the hundreds and hundreds more, congratulations, class of 2019. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Well, I just want to say congratulations again. I did say it in the beginning of the board meeting. I do also want to acknowledge that this month is Pride Month, and and I'm going to try to see if we can try to invite many students. There's a baseball game at the Quakes that's pertaining to Pride Night out at the ballpark, and I would love opportunities for our students to participate and enjoy, and of course interact with other individuals of the community. So I will share that with them. Let me see what else. Did you have a comment? Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Scott.
Sorry, Madam President, I just
That's
sent
okay.
you a quick note because I think we'd be remiss if we didn't acknowledge the passing of one of our colleagues
Okay.
from Yucaipa, Calamasa School District, one of our longtime educators in our community, in many districts, superintendent, teacher, and school board member, CSBA Delegate Assembly, Ms. Jane Smith. So,
Okay.
and
we
I,
could take a moment.
forgive me for not mentioning that earlier, but I think
could
it'd be
take a-
appropriate to recognize her.
Thank you, Dr. Wyatt. She was a close colleague also. And I was remiss in mentioning that.
And in addition to, since you were taking a moment of silence, I understand in just a moment, I also think that the board should be in the community. Just our hearts go out to the Chuck Obershaw family and the Nancy Varner family,
Yes, that's
also with their passing. And so if
could take a moment
Madam
of
President,
silence.
modem.
Yes, we'll go ahead and take a moment of silence for all three. Okay, thank you. Great individuals, and our prayers go out to the families and friends of those. Okay, so then Dr. Marsden, you're up next.
Thank you, Madam President. So congratulations to the class of 2019. It's been a pleasure to greet so many of our graduates and continue to do that over the rest of this week, including my own son, who is the last of the Marsdens to graduate high school. So we're very grateful and looking forward to his graduation on Thursday from Cajon High School. Congratulations go out here to some students, Richardson Prep High Middle School musicians who brought home top honors following performances at the Music in the Park in Orange County earlier this month. So the show choir received an award, the band received an award, the orchestra received a superior rating and earned the overall trophy for Best Orchestra. Richardson also won the Esprit de Corps Award for the 9th consecutive year, so that's fantastic. School recognition, also congratulations to Richardson Prep High Middle School, Dr. Martin Luther King Middle School, and Pacific High School for being recognized at the San Bernardino County Superintendent of Schools Recognition Awards yesterday. I want to extend a special thank you to Principals Jenny Page, Maria Hedegi, and Dr. Natalie Raimundo for all they do on behalf of students. Also want to recognize congratulations to Matt Maida, San Gregorio High School, and Carmel Brand Pacific High School for being recognized as the 2019 recipient of the Citrus Belt Area Athletic Director Association Sportsmanship Award. So congratulations to the two of them. Also congratulating Officer Sanchez. Have the opportunity to go to our San Bernardino Area Chamber of Commerce meeting, and recognizing him was especially meaningful. And then so much more I could say, but lastly, I'll just mention I was at a meeting at Esri just this week. Yes, it was late last week, I think on Friday, and bumped into Jack Dangerman while I was there and talked to him for a few minutes, and he has heard much about what's going on here thanks to this board's leadership. And then he later addressed a group of 40 of us that were gathered in the theater to talk about bringing innovation to the community through a work called the Inland Empire Innovation, Inland Empire Rising, and part of this innovation ecosystem. And Jack addressed the crowd, and he talked about why he stayed. You know, here he is, the second or third largest software company in the world. And why has he stayed in Redlands? And he said, because we have great climate, we have a great community. He said, when we had issues around pollution, we worked as a community to resolve those issues. Around labor, we've resolved some of those issues, and we're continuing to do that. Crime, no different. These are issues where you make a commitment to make things better. He says, just being a good citizen. And he said, we need to work together to recontextualize this region. He said, some of you have done it in spite of the odds. He was talking about us when he mentioned that. And he said that we need to tell a better scenario and a recasting of what's possible. We have here in this region a tech center, a health center, opportunities and education center, affordability, a spirit of collaboration. He accentuated the positive and said we need to have this asset-based narrative. And I thought those were important words to heed as we are working hard to redefine not just the city of San Bernardino, but this region and our economy. And so a lot of great work has gone on, and there's a lot of thank yous I know that have gone around this table. As a matter of fact, we remember some of the thank yous said last week, and I think Linda Bardier's team has a special memory of some thank yous that were said last week. So you turn your attention to the screen.
So I want to thank you all, thank you all, thank you all, thank you all. I never thanked you before. Janie, Harold, Perry, Dr. Mitchell, Dr. Menard, Dr. Perez, but you all do such a great job, and I never say thank you. I never thanked you before. So I want to say thank you to all of you. And thank you to Dr. Marston, too. I didn't mention Dr. Marston. I call him, too. He gets the real tough ones.
I appreciate the compliment. So we just wanted to reinforce good behavior, and so thank you, board, for your leadership and ongoing commitment to the success of this team. So.
Can we add that to the Facebook pages and social media pages?
Yes,
I will share that on social
absolutely.
media.
All those in favor?
We wouldn't think of making it public if it
It's
wasn't
okay,
Mr.
Danny.
Tillman.
You're okay with this, right? Yeah, he's okay with going public, so it's okay.
Well, it already is. I
Yes,
think.
no, I'm meaning on social media piece. So, Dr. Flores, did you have a
Those
comment?
are all my
No.
comments.
Okay. Yes, we vote yes on sharing it. It's funny, it's nice, and it's good because we all do appreciate the work that you're all doing. All right, that was a good laugh for a long evening. So 11.0 consent calendar item. Can I have a motion? Any discussion? Okay. Okay, hold on one sec. What item?
Copy 11.29, the purpose
Okay.
for recusing yourself.
Okay, who else?
The purpose is just
Okay.
on the board of directors.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. White. So we'll just wait till you leave the room.
Any other items to be pulled? If not, let's go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carried. Okay, let's go to 11.29.
So moved.
Any discussion? Hearing none, let's go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carried. Let's go to 12.0 action items. Personnel report 12.1, personnel report number 21, dated June 4th, 2019. Dr. Wiseman?
As presented.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none, let's go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carried. And that is, be it resolved that the board, that personnel report number 21, dated June 4th, is approved as presented. All right, 12.2, approved charter. That one was pulled. Let's go ahead and go to 12.3, board ongoing initiatives.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none, let's go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, motion carried. 12.4, board top 10. Any discussion? Hearing none, let's go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carried. 12.5, board follow-up. Any discussion? Hearing none, let's go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carried. I didn't hear no nays. So 12.6, I know, that's a long night. 12.6, a future agenda item. Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none, let's go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carried. 13.0, summary of board requests. Dr. Volkemer?
Thank you, Madam President. Don't know of any that'll be as historic as the one from last week or last time, but we do have a few follow-ups. First of all, look into automatic, this is how I titled it, President Rosales Medina, look into automatic subtitle type translation.
Yes, live, and that way it'll probably be easier and it'll help with time management as well.
Okay. Follow up and agendize the item on making Norton a K-8, the possibility of making Norton a K-8 school. Explore Green District initiatives, including recycling, and bring back information regarding that. And then Mr. Gallo asked us if Eric Vatier could come back and drone on about drones in relation to our career pathways. Those are all the follow-ups I had. Did I miss one? I'm sorry if I did.
Yes, Dr. Flores?
On public comment, we had 2 requests to agendize the discussion of
Aging class.
interns for combo classes, and then also
Heart
for
team.
expanding the heart
Heart team.
team, yeah,
Okay,
to
thank you.
agendize that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you,
Okay,
Dr.
great.
Flores.
Okay, thank you. So now we're going to go ahead and move to 14.0, adjournment of the board. What? We will? Okay, we will be reporting out, so we'll be coming out. Okay, we are back from closed session. We're going to go ahead and open from closed session. We have a quorum, so I'm going to go ahead and read the readouts. Be it resolved that the Board of Education accepts the notice of recommendation for disciplinary action and statement of charges to dismiss the following classified employee from his or her employment with the district, HR Class 181913, and be it resolved that the Board of Education accepts the notice of recommendation for disciplinary action and statement of charges to dismiss the following classified employees from his or her employment with the district, HR Class 181912. Can I have a motion?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, let's go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carried, and we are now adjourned. Good evening, everyone. Have a good night.